Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. It's Gord here, Friday afternoon, 4 p.m. Eastern, just about 4:02 now. I'm so happy we're started. Looks like we got some people coming in. I'm very excited. Today I have a very special guest, one of my favorites, Mr. Brian G. Johnson, and we're going to be talking about YouTube growth strategies for 2018. And before I give a little more perspective on the topic, I just wanted to give people a little bit of background about how I got to know Brian and how things have gelled for me through working with Brian, and it's been special. A few years back, when I decided to get more serious about what I'm doing with video, I took Brian's Trust Funnel Academy group course and also read his book, and I got to learn so much, and then I decided to have some coaching with Brian and grow my skills, and then he started the Tube Ritual community, and just everything took off from there. And I'm really excited. I've learned a lot from Brian as like a coach and a mentor and a friend, and we're gonna have some fun today. And welcome, Brian.
Hey, Gord, it's great to be here. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, super. Can someone give us confirmation that everything looks good? I see British Cook says, good evening, everyone. And there's Check It Media. Just someone to verify that we're all good with the video and audio. Okay, I'm guessing it says, I'm guessing that things are smooth. Everything looks good. There we go. There, Naomi, Top Shelf VA gave us a go ahead. That's awesome. So thank you. And, welcome, Brian. It's a very exciting time for you because also I see you're like 29,000 subs right now, soon to crack the 3-0.
Hey, that's pretty cool. I'm all good with that.
Yeah.
No problem.
I'll say I just need to, take my numbers and put a big multiplier and get there. But it's all exciting. I'm really excited for you. And
well, we're
going to talk about that because one of the interesting perspectives I want to take today is the fact that, even though I'm, where I'm at compared to where someone like you are at or Nick, it's kind of interesting how to look at it from different sort of places on the, I'll call it the statistics pool, but I hate to focus there. It's not the way to go, but it will be an interesting perspective. So to dive in, we're going to talk about how to grow fast on YouTube, and we're gonna discover that some strategies will work better than for others depending on kind of like what's your approach and your mission, and we're gonna help you today figure out what kind of strategies work best for you. And what I wanted to do, Brian, was to start out with the concept of mindset. I know this may seem kind of strange, but I think you deal with this issue a lot because, well, you coach so many different people, and a lot of your videos you talk about the mindset. So first, can you tell me what does it mean to grow on YouTube to you? Because to me, there's many angles, right? There's statistical growth, there's vanity growth, there's using YouTube for financial. So how do you look at it and deal with that with people, that perspective?
Yeah, I think growth is pretty much it's the same across the board. Like if you mention the word growth, that's more views and subscribers. I think if we get a room of 1,000 YouTubers together and we say, hey, what does growth mean? And like, just real quick, you don't need to think about it. Just what is growth? I think people are going to come back and say more views and subscribers. I think where you're heading, and let me know if I'm on the right track, is success. What does success mean to me as a YouTuber? And that's very different. And I think one of the things that often really separates those individuals that are succeeding to grow a channel at a higher level is their definition of success is often a little different. Their purpose on YouTube, what they're trying to achieve, the message that's important to them, and ultimately how they're trying to not just share a message, but amplify a message.
Yeah, so I think that's great because I think a lot of people shouldn't look at their rate of growth in that comparative sense and get discouraged because some people may feel like they're failing because they don't have those statistical numbers that others do. And I know for me, I struggle, and I know a lot of the, the small YouTubers. And I know when I started out how, when I would look and say, oh, wow, look, I got 2 new subscribers today and this was awesome. It's 2 in one day. And I remember, all those feelings back then. And the funny thing is it doesn't matter the further you go and whatever growth that happens, you can easily still stay in that game. Like there's no end to it, right?
You always want more, no matter what. You always forever want more money, fame, views, subscribers, and so on. And for me, I think it's really, really important to have the capacity to have a goal in mind, a destination that you want to arrive at, but to be able to experience the joy that we get to have with the journey itself. At that point, it's all gravy, because at that point, I can really be excited about what's happening today. I can be thankful for what's happening today. And if you get so caught up in the more views, more subscribers, it's very hollow, and it's kind of like this shallow pit of, doom and gloom, because you never achieve anything that's lasting. So for me, I mentioned earlier that success for me when I got started, in fact, interesting, Gord, I really thought about this today. Mm-hmm. And my purpose on YouTube is to go really deep into YouTube, to understand the platform, to share, to create a case study that lasts a long time, and to push myself to make that a reality. And that's like, World Series. That's the Super Bowl. This isn't like I'm going to put together a case study in 72 hours and sell it at a $7 WSO. This is like really trying to figure it out. And to me, that gives me a lot of pleasure. And along the way, I wanted to share a message with other people, really helping them to grow based on my findings. And that's what I've really been all about. And I figured, if I do this in this manner, if I really dedicate myself to YouTube, mm-hmm. to figuring it out, then all kinds of opportunity will come along. And it's interesting today is that all of those things are happening, and they started happening really early. Yes. When I had a handful of subscribers, a few thousand subscribers, which for most is a lot. But I think when we really think about changing lives, making life-changing earnings, you don't have to have 10,000, 20,000, 100,000 subscribers. You can kick ass, you can take names, and you can make that happen with a relatively small amount of subscribers. And I'm really grateful that I'm doing that today. And the thing I want to share with everybody in the live stream and watching the replay is it always works. It always, every time, never does not work unless the individual quits and gives up before the magic happens. And it's really that simple. Like, Gord, have you seen growth over the last year?
Yes, significant growth. And the funny thing is I could never really predict when it was going to take off. And I've had my lulls too, where I took a few breaks and the channel growth actually receded. And, it's easy to get in a pit of despair. At least I did, but now it's not so bad. But and I didn't know that when things were going to really start to take off and move, the timing of that. And it's about, you always told me that if you really want to be in this platform in the long run and do something special, that you got to be prepared to put in at least a couple of years of good hard work, right, Brian? Yeah, people. By the way, I apologize for 1 second. Thank you so much, Michael Daniels, for that super chat. I really appreciate it. I'm getting used to dealing with all of this, and thank you. I see Pam's here, some regulars. I saw Ileane Smith there, and Check It Media. Lots of great people here. Thank you all for coming out. And so yeah, Brian. Like for me, I felt like the urge to want to not quit, but wondering like, wow, how every time I'd have a little setback, how long is it going to take to get there? And go, 2 years is a long time. Remember, these are the kind of struggles I would ask you about, and you would keep telling me about the patience factor, right?
Well, yeah, and I think one of the things to consider is that it doesn't have to take years. It really doesn't. and it's always based on the next video. Like, this is my mantra forever and a day. The success that you want is found in your next video. And some people have the capacity to publish like an absolute masterpiece every third day. Other people, it takes a week. But what doesn't matter is the fact if you're publishing, say, 4 videos a month or 3 or 20, that really doesn't matter. What matters is what you're trying to accomplish and just striving to do that, because when you do, it always works. Like I said, it truly does. And early on, you've got to have the ability to go on faith, and you've got to be realistic. And the fact of the matter is, most YouTubers, 97%, have no grasp of reality. I mean, it's so out of whack. What happens is, I think we watch these big YouTubers and like, it looks, I'm on a vlog, I'm on the beach, everything. Hey, I'm going to fly over here and meet my pals. And then we're going to and then you make your first video, and it really is quite different from what you've seen from Casey Neistat or Philip DeFranco or Nick Nimmin, et cetera, et cetera. And that's when you get this like reality check. This is when life comes and says, whoa, whoa, whoa. Turns out Casey Neistat's been making movies and videos for 20 years, and you just made your first one. Slow down there, champ. So
that's so true, and there's so many things to get into, but those are great points, and you showed me along the way how important that patience was, and that things may not accelerate as quickly as you want, and you talked about the concept of levels, which I want to get to in a second. But I do want to mention Brian's awesome book here, Tube Ritual, and he talked about case study, and that you're doing like this ongoing concept of a case study, and that's really what you've done for all of us. Is like you started with your own journey from scratch to go to what the goal with your subs goal. I think at first it was you aimed for 25,000 in 1 year, right? And you went through and you produced the book as part of that process. And by the way, I'm just putting a reminder out. This says Tube Ritual Volume 1. When's Volume 2 coming? You're gonna have to tell us that too.
I don't know, but it's gonna be good though.
I'm sure.
That.
So I feel that all your videos and the way you approach YouTube and with the nuggets that you share, whether it's things like your piggyback marketing, your piggyback approach, the handoffs, all the different cool things that you give in your own kind of terminology to help us understand. I mean, I think it's really great. Like, you really think like out there, going at a nice deep level that a lot of us appreciate, to see how you especially the last several videos you've done too have been at another more interesting kind of level that I'm really appreciating. How have you changed things up that way for your growth? So from a growth standpoint, you've done something in the last couple of months, right? To take a new, I don't want to say new approach, to the next level.
Yeah. Well, I think, again, it's just human nature. We want to do something, most of us, not everyone, but we want to create something worthwhile. We want to push ourselves. We want to see what we're capable of. That's definitely me. I'm kind of a weirdo in that sense too. And I think I almost like lean into the, like, it's going to be hell. Like, this is going to kind of suck, but I'm going to do it anyway because I know the rewards that are on the other side. And I think, having been at this game as a digital marketer, entrepreneur for a very long time, since 2002, 2003, I've gone through that phase of like, there's nothing, and then there's a little bit, and then a little bit is a little bit more. And then all of a sudden, you're an overnight success, as they say. One of the things you ask, Gord, is like, what are you doing now to kind of take things to the next level? It's really occurred to me as I just really continue to, it's really about thinking, which sounds kind of weird, but it's really just taking the time to think things through, and then constantly be doing my best to make a better video. And as I've been continually pondering these really successful channels, what I've discovered is that there are really 3 phases that every single channel goes through, every successful YouTuber goes through. And it's within these three phases that will ultimately determine your success or lack thereof, based on really like what's the word I want to look to? Achieving a certain level of criteria. For example, you've got to have the right kind of editing. You've got to be able to dial in your focus and your exposure. You've got to work with the microphones and the OBS, and that's part of it. And basically that's like one of the phases. I'm not going to give it all away because next week's going to be pretty fun, and there's going to be some next level kind of things happening on my channel with one bigger video. But it's really just taking the time to move forward and address how can I make a better video, which it sounds so simple, but what really saddens me is I feel, and I could be off, I know there's a lot of people doing a lot of great things. I see Pam is here, and Cody Vlogs, and Gord, you're doing great, and Nick Nimmin, and Dan Brock, and there's so many people that really do see what's required and how to get there. But at the same time, there's this population of like, how do I get more views? What's the neatest hack, or does the categories matter? And these are all great questions. Like, you're going to ask these questions as you're getting started. But I think it's super important to really realize and prioritize what is most important. And that's making a great video. And if you're like, you know, my next video is going to be the one, and you really strive to do that, you will find that you ramp up your channel so fast because you're focused on what's most important. It's not the tags, which I've got a lot of sneaky strategies about the tags. It's not the SEO, which again, people have told me time and again that they really like my SEO strategies. But if you don't have the ability to captivate an audience, if you don't have the ability to hold attention, then a lot of that stuff isn't going to work at the same degree. So really just prioritizing and understanding what's most important. It seems so obvious, yet I don't see a lot of people saying like, how can I make a better video?
Yeah. Well, I agree with you. And in particular, you know, I thought about this because you've said, you know, many quit before their time. And if you think about it, we need skills in editing, presentation, as you said, post-production skills, thumbnails, creating, publishing, social media distribution, right? Analyzing our competition, you know, SEO. So there's such a diversity of skills, and there are so many areas to work on that it can be overwhelming. And to get better, I mean, even if you just, you know, try to inch yourself ahead in each of the different areas and give yourself credit for the progress you're making, because I know I would love to be doing various other things to contribute to my growth, but I just can't seem to get to, and I still end up, you know, mixing up priorities and going, darn, I didn't get that video out that I wanted to. That's a core to keep things going and fresh and strong on the growth pattern with what the audience is looking for, because I get taken away by so many of the other things. And, you know, this is why I think that a lot of people just think it's all overwhelming, and sometimes, you know, want to feel that they want to quit. Like, what do you say to someone who's feeling in that kind of like moment where they feel it's just like, oh, there's just so much here?
Yeah, stop it. There doesn't have to be. And quite frankly, I don't get it. Like, we've had a discussion. Let's talk about this, Gord. Yeah. Just let's
is this
get
the perfectionist
real.
Thing?
Should we just get real right here, Gord?
Yeah, we need to get real.
Let's talk about this word that you're fascinated with. It starts with an S, and you just said it, about all the things that we need to do. Do you know what word it is?
The word I said with an S?
Yeah. All the things that need to be done. It's syndication, I think you said.
Okay. I don't think I recall saying syndication.
Oh, well, what did you say then? It was like something.
Well, I was talking about distribution. I did mention distribution.
Oh, distribution. Yeah. Right. I don't think that's why Casey Neistat is Casey Neistat. I don't think Casey sits in his office thinking about like setting up Yahoo pipes and RSS feeds to syndicate his crappy videos across the internet. I just don't. I think Casey Neistat makes freaking amazing videos. I think Casey Neistat is constantly asking himself, how can I make a better video? And when you start thinking in those terms, all the rest of the crap doesn't matter. I mean, because a great video. Have you seen his channel trailer? It's just, I'm so in awe. It's YouTube, filmmaking is a sport is the name of
Right.
the video. Really fantastic video.
Yeah.
And it really tells his story of how he's been just infatuated with this idea of movies and being a filmmaker. And he wanted to do all, like, be the filmmaker and go to the Oscars and then be in the awards. And then I went to the awards and then I did this. But at the end of the day, I fell in love with YouTube, and it's on YouTube that I can really express myself. And yeah, Yahoo pipes, Ileane. Exactly, girl.
Yeah.
So I think right there is how you eliminate that, Gord. You create a list of all the stuff.
Right.
Like, just let yourself go wild. Spend 3 days, and your list will be 347 items. And then you say, do I really need to worry about this stuff? And it's time and again, it'll be no, no, no. And I think when you do that, you have the ability to take what is a massive amount of information that's totally scary, totally will contribute to overwhelm.
Yeah.
And then you might have 26 items, which is still a lot. But if you just focus on those items over time, it's really easy to get very good at what you do because you're focused on the most important thing. To me, that makes my life. I mean, I actually just kind of work like that because it's just too much for me.
Yeah, I know you've often said to me, like, focus on the next thing and what is it you need to do. You would say to me, you need to make a Gord video. And then I could say to you, well, but Brian, I'm working on this web page. I need a landing page because I need to show people I'm doing these services. I need to do this and I need to do that. And none of these things are contributing to the core thing I need to do, which was to keep producing consistent quality product. And that, those other things, if I manage the priorities well, schedule those other things to happen and grow with them, as a secondary thing, and then sort of just breathe and make sure I focus. Because I'm being, flat out honest here. I struggle with distraction from and overwhelm from all of that, like you call it, list of 30 items. It's no problem to make a list.
Yeah. Well, I think we all do. And it's really hard too. I mean, it's a challenge for me, Gord, to do the thing, like to take the time to write out a script. Now, I don't always script. We can talk more about the tactics and whatnot, but lately I've been really working on making these just really solid videos. And interesting about how that's been turning out. I'm sure that'll be great content for the next tube ritual book. But like I said, at the end of the day, sometimes I'm going to script, sometimes I'm not, sometimes I'm going to just film a video. But basically, I'm always kind of doing these like handful of things. And that's, I'm filming, I'm sending footage to my editor, I'm rendering, I'm meeting with clients, I'm holding up my obligations to clients, I'm doing affiliate deals, I'm working strategically to make a multitude of things, these things happen at the same time. And sometimes that gets boring. And I think as humans, we like, oh, that's new and fun. And it's like, but no, I don't get to do that right now. I get to finish my script, because if I don't finish my script, I can't film. And if I can't film, it means I'm going to get on a plane tomorrow morning and there won't be a video for Tuesday. And there has to be a video on Tuesday. There has to be. And at that point, what I was amazed is when you had Nick on a week ago or so, Nick shared this exact same thing. And we've talked about this a lot. I'm like, dude, it's that, like, focus on the videos. Like, nothing is more important. But my website, I'm like, my website's updated, and it's like, me, like, Nick doesn't barely have a website. I mean, he's got videos and it says Nick Nimmin, but I mean, it's just very bare bones, but he's got so much opportunity because one of the things to think about is that you want to prioritize the proof, and you want to prioritize what's most important to the people you want to serve. So think of it this way, Gord. You do a great job with video marketing. You do a great job with Camtasia and editing. And what I believe the people in your demographic want to see is, how can I make an outstanding, amazing video? And the better your videos and the more often they come, the more opportunity is going to come for you, just like Nick mentioned. And that's why in fact, I'm putting off some of the like monetization stuff because I really want to amp up my growth. And it's been working. Like over the last couple months, my growth is really starting to pick up at a nice pace. So that's been really powerful for me.
Cool. So now we're gonna, if it's okay with you, Brian, shift into looking a little deeper at some of the growth strategies, if we can. But before we do that, I'm just gonna say thank you all again for coming. And I see there's a lot of people here, and I apologize if I pronounce incorrectly. Famil Dingen, Cody Vlogs, Checked Media, Michael Daniels, Chris Heidelbaugh, nice to see you, and Pam's here, Pam Duthie, and what's update, and there's Carlos Zapata Media, welcome, Lily Tree, and it's nice to see you all here, and Ileane Smith, thank you all for coming. And I'm trying to scan and see some questions. We're going to get to those a little later, but here we go. Now we're going to take a little more deeper dive. Traffic, Brian. I find this very interesting, going through analytics when I want to look at growth and try to figure things out. And so many, one of the core pieces of analytics we get is our traffic source information. So for me, we always know suggested videos is, you want to do great with that. So I have I'm just sharing a couple of my stats, and then I want to ask you a question. Suggested videos, 42%, YouTube search, 16%, and browse features 9.5%. But then when I go, and playlists is only 4.8%, but then end screens and video cards are like 0.4 and 0.2. So these stats are relative to 100% of out of 100 getting where all your traffic's coming from. What I wonder is, what should we be striving for? Is it like you should care about these 2 or 3, but I know things like end screens and cards are important, but I'm not performing very well there. So do you have some suggestions on what we do as a strategy for growth and where should we be striving to improve on those numbers?
Yeah, so this is a really great example, and I think this really ties in so well with how we started with mindset and understanding what success means and how to structure that and whatnot. And one of the things you mentioned, Gord, is like end screens. Now, end screens, you can absolutely, you could go to Fiverr and get some nice fancy end screens and whatnot, and you could spend time on that, and you'd probably say, oh, it's just going to take me a little bit, and it does, but probably times 3. So it's actually 2 or 3 hours, or you could the title is the most important thing. The title and the thumbnail is the most important thing. So I personally wouldn't worry too much about end screens. Now, that being said, I'll probably come out with some end screen tutorial. I've got some fancy ideas about that. Mm-hmm. The reason I do is because I want to cover and I want to go deep into YouTube. So I'm going to look at everything. But again, taking the time to prioritize. So you're going to be far, far, far better off to learn about creating compelling language, compelling thumbnails and titles. You're going to be far better off to think about how to communicate on camera. I'm slowing myself down right now. I'm not umming and ahhing. And that's because I practice talking like a crazy person in my house. I walk around like Nick talks about me. It's just interesting seeing what Nick talks about, and then I'll talk about the same thing. And
well, what about how do you talk to poodles? Do you practice with them?
Yeah, actually, I have before. I remember I was speaking at an event, and I usually will get some things ready, and I'm working on my presentation.
Right.
And my wife was on the couch, and I got the poodles on the couch, and then I put myself at the front of the room, and I gave a little presentation to the poodle.
And I guess it would be like dealing with an audience, because if they nod off or whatever, you have to deal with that issue, right?
Exactly. Well, no one ever nods off, but it's not always pretty when I speak.
So when you mentioned thumbnails and these other things, that's the stuff that's going to help succeed in getting more suggested videos, to more traffic through suggested, right? So the statistics
no, I think yes and no. So one of the things to consider is, at this point, like you mentioned, your number one traffic source is suggested video views. So that's really tremendous. Mm-hmm. And I would imagine that what's happening is a lot of people are coming into your channel and they're watching multiple videos, which is really going to help you. Mm-hmm. You've done a really good job of keeping the quality bar very, very high. Mm-hmm. Like we've talked about this. Yeah. I think actually, to be honest, you would be better to actually not pull it down, but just look for ways where you could maybe reduce your effort per video to have, instead of a 98%, a quality score, to have a 92%, because no one's going to notice. You know what I mean? Truly, no one's going to notice. But like I was saying, as far as like suggested or search, for you right now, Gord, like I think a great strategy, and we've talked about this many, many times, is again, if you can somehow find the courage to put in less effort to publish more videos and not end up doing that 20-minute tutorial, which is very, it's like nothing wrong with you. I literally did the same exact thing. When I started my channel, my videos were 20-minute like movies. I was trying to be like Steven Spielberg drops acid with Steve Martin, and then and like all of them like create a film together, and that's like I was going for that, and it worked, but it worked for me, but not my audience. But
yeah, because if I can interrupt, I call it the kitchen sink syndrome, because like when I try to tackle a topic, I think, well, if I'm going to cover it, I got to go like from A to Z on it, or I'm leaving stuff out and they're going to miss something. And then when I get done with it, it's kind of funny because tomorrow I'm coming out with a near 20-minute video. I say that, but because I did a 10-tip thing. But it's so easy to get carried away to want to do this complete, you know, 4-part play, whatever. And what I need to do is accept that they can get that play in 4 parts. It does not have to be delivered in that one video. And I'm just not used to that, because I feel like I go, well, I didn't do the topic justice because I only did a little bit, and getting comfortable with letting go of that, and just allowing to put out and see what happens. Like these are, you know, some of the kinds of things that you're saying. And the other thing that I want to mention, which is I think something you should be doing some videos on, if I can just make a suggestion and a request, talk about the middle of the video. It's like doing things, you know, that are going to help you succeed more through the middle of the video. You know, not so much just about the intro and other stuff. And it's not like a comment about what you're doing or not, but do more to help us succeed in carrying things through the middle of the video to retain people longer. And I think that would be cool, like new ideas on some of that.
Yeah, we could definitely talk about that. There'll probably be a new audience retention or video structure video coming out soon. There's the neat thing about when you really give yourself just to a singular thing, which again is so hard for some people, but it's so beautiful, because you get really good. Yeah. You get damn good. And like I look at what I do today versus what I just did. It wasn't even 2 years ago, and it's night and day. And the way I did that, Gord, is I just, again, I hate to sound like a broken sink, but I've just made a lot of videos, and I focused on less stuff, but just video. And that's really helped me get to where I want to go. So like I was saying with you, and here's the thing to think about, Gord, like if you think, well, it's really important for me to cover all these things, and the correct way is to go over all the details, and people need this information. This is good information. But like you're kind of a rule book kind of guy, that like we need to do it by the rule book, and the rule book that's not necessarily how the rules work on YouTube. How the rules work on YouTube is like, if you want to get more growth, you want to figure out how you publish videos in the most efficient manner to gain the most views and growth. And it's again not just about views, but about not just sharing, but amplifying a message you're passionate about, which is the video editing and the video YouTube stuff and the lighting. And you do a great job with that. And I think that's what's important. And you have to have conversations with yourself that are kind of bottom line, no matter what. And you have to hold yourself accountable. Like literally, I was in the same shoes that I want to do a 20-minute video. It's not that those are bad. Yeah. But if you spend, I think we all know when it's too much for each video. And it's like, if every video is like a Steven Spielberg kind of thing, then that's probably not the right approach.
And experimentation is very important too, because we'll learn more about our audience in terms of, you know, what kind of content they do like. And if I do a super long one, I can also be broken up. You know, there's, you know, especially live streams where there's some very special content, sometimes you can focus it down and break it apart. And many people have asked me that, said, well, why don't you break down that live stream into 4 or 5 topic things and share? And I did a bit of that in the beginning. And I just want to say a quick welcome to a few other people. I see Daryl Stern Storming's here. Nice to see you. Rodney B. Hunt and Mel from Sydney. I think I got that right instead of Sydney Mel. And Beanie Draws just joined. Cool. We got some great people here. That's super. So so thank you for that information there, Brian. So I mentioned, you know, different kinds of stats in general. If I were to say to you, as a young YouTuber and you're starting to get going, rather, I know we shouldn't be burdening ourselves with the stats and just be, you know, primarily working to produce a better product, but what 2 or 3 things are really relevant to grow what's most important on you know, to see measuring stick of what you're doing, rather than be inundated by things like views and sub counts, because they're not per se going to tell you that you're doing a good job by themselves.
I mean, I think it's important to pull back a little bit, Gord. I mean, like, it's great to have a lot of freaking views. You know, we all want a lot of views and we all want a lot of subscribers. I just think when it crosses that line where people lose the joy of creating videos, you know, and at the end of the day, I think there are some people that they're so dependent on that for their happiness, and they're probably not meant for YouTube, and that's okay. You know, not everyone should be on this platform. It takes effort, it takes time, and there's other things to do. You know, it's like we have to move forward. So anyway, like how to drive more views is one of the things I've said from the very beginning, and it's still so important, is to pay attention to relevancy. So nothing beats the power of relevancy, especially for a small YouTuber. And here's what's interesting.
Can you clarify relevancy, by the way? Because I sometimes get a little confused, because you've talked about congruency, relevancy, and alignment. So can you just sort of...
Yeah, sure. So, well, relevance is in terms of how the YouTube algorithm sorts through videos and determines what videos are going to rank in search, as well as which videos will be promoted through suggested videos. So, okay. Anytime you've got a platform that's based on search, relevance takes a priority, because if it didn't, you would search for cat videos and you'd get dog videos, right? Because it would be based on the most popular videos. Right. So relevance is powerful, and the more you know how to tap into that, the easier it is to drive views. And it's easy. You see the search term. Right. In YouTube Suggest, and you take the search term and you start your title with exactly the search term, right? And you drive more views. So that's and you deliver inside what you're promising, for sure. you know, I'm glad that you said this, Gord. I think that's a key part. Yeah. One of the things I really haven't had a chance to talk about yet, but we're going to do it right now. So thanks for having me on your show. Is we know that relevance is powerful, but at the end of the day, it's watch time that's most important. So we always want to be asking ourselves, is the search term I'm going to select for my title, is that going to bring in the right kind of viewer? And furthermore, am I kind of trying to use this keyword because I think it's going to get me more views? Like I've sabotaged my own videos by thinking, oh, this keyword's going to get me more views, so I'm going to use this, when another keyword was more in alignment with the actual video content, so on. Yeah, I struggle with that so much, because when I do a lot of my videos, there's not a lot of suggested search phrases that come up. So I find times I'm like treading new territory. And the good thing, I think what I've learned is, now that a lot of my videos, say for example in the Camtasia space, rank very high, I'm able to now put out a topic, and I don't have to be so precise in matching, and I'm still going to get a decent volume of views and ranking. But it took a long time to achieve that, and that was, you know, based on a strategy that you told me to work with what you said to get that relevancy firing really high and build on an anchor
In my case, it was Camtasia, and that helped me grow as I'm progress as a small YouTuber to now getting a little more latitude in what I can do with my titling, right?
It depends on what you want.
Yeah.
Like, I think it really depends on what you want. Like, do you want to have the creative, like, let me ask you, is it more important for Gord Isman to have creative freedom or to grow faster? Which is more important? You get 6 words just 6 words on your answer. Do you want to creative freedom or do you want to grow?
It's a combination for me.
Yeah, no, there's no combination.
You didn't give. I introduced
I'm joking with Gord here, but that's where
the reason why is because we also need to be inspired and honor in our heart, as you've often said, right?
Well, but you want both though. Like, you just started off with kind of your answer was like, well, I want both, Brian.
Yeah, so it's a tug of war. There you go. That was your point.
Yeah, and what's interesting is you've kind of dreaded this the whole time. Is like you've kind of gone through this exercise kicking and screaming, and then I look at Nick Nimmin and he's like, yeah, anytime I'm going to come out of the YouTube space, I'm going to talk about other things. It's like anytime. It's like, dude, you got 140,000 subs now. I think you're good. Well, growth is good right now. Just a couple more weeks.
Well, I think Nick hinted on our chat last Sunday that he's going to be soon starting to show some new interesting stuff content-wise.
Yeah, so he's been hinting at that for months now.
Oh, okay.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is, like, that's really a good lesson. If you really want to grow, then take the time and sacrifice, which so many YouTubers are not willing to do. Mm-hmm. And I know for a fact that Michael Phelps has done well swimming because he sacrificed in other areas of his life. I know very well that Casey Neistat, like, he just makes videos all the time. It's all like videos and my company Beam, and like, he sacrifices. And I think it's super hard for YouTubers to sacrifice, but you get on the other side of that sacrifice, which is what you're after, the growth. And that payoff is so amazing. So by being willing to, and here's the thing, and there's nothing wrong with like wanting to have that creative expression or that creative freedom. Like, that's awesome. But, you know, you kind of have to really decide what's most important.
Yeah, and if I really get that creative bug that's really pushing me, I'll do something creative outside for myself. Like, I'll make some video memes and publish them, you know, and just sort of like get a release that way. It doesn't have to be stuff related to my channel and I pull it off track either. So I think there's many ways to help satisfy that sort of urge, that it doesn't have to interfere with your strategy that way to grow. So now if we can shift into the topic of playlists, and I find this very interesting because of late I hear a lot of talk about series playlists, and I'm gonna just wrap the context in this. I've heard Nick talk about the other day about the concept of trapping the person on your channel and creating playlists, and then cross-referring videos from playlist to playlist, and creating sort of a circular connection to keep people inside your channel. So there's this concept of series playlists where you can, I think a video can only be on that playlist. It's like an official series playlist, and it can't be in another one. So I'm going to pose a practical problem, and if you can speak to it in the context of that, which is my situation. I thought I just have to build this master behemoth 22 video now Camtasia playlist, and now I'm starting to create smaller set playlists for people, but then that would violate the series playlist concept. So pretend you're someone like me who my anchor's built on that, and I've just like really been working with like one behemoth playlist. What would be a strategy to keep people on, have more playlists, and to help me to grow, rather than if there's a limitation with my approach?
Yeah, it's no problem at all. It's actually it's pretty simple in that you can add a video to only one official playlist. Okay, so you can only add one video to one official playlist, but there's no saying you can't add that same video to a regular playlist. You can create a playlist that's not official, and that gives you ability to customize your channel in a way you want. You could make a playlist on Camtasia titles, for example, or Camtasia titles and what are the things in the corner of the 3D lower thirds, right?
Right.
That could be a playlist, Camtasia lower thirds
Right.
and title. And that could be official. It might only have 4 or 5 videos,
Right.
and that goes right in there. But you might have a master Camtasia playlist, which it sounds like you do.
Right.
So
yeah, I do.
that.
I have a master of like 22 videos, but I thought if it's in what's called a series playlist, it can't go on another playlist. Is that
well?
how it works?
Yeah. So I mentioned 2 kinds of playlist.
Right.
One is an official playlist. So
Right.
I think you what was the terminology?
Series.
You
I
used?
use the word, they call it official series playlist, or am I
It's
mixing
official.
things up?
Yeah. So I think of it as official. So there's
Okay.
one official playlist, and then there's one regular playlist. You can have 2 kinds of playlists, and
Right.
that gives you the ability. Like what you can do is you could take your big Camtasia playlist and just make it unofficial.
Right.
And then if you want to make smaller playlists that are official, that are
Okay.
also Camtasia, you could do that.
Oh, okay. So I see. So it can only appear on one official series playlist, not multiple official series playlists. I get it now. So
Yeah.
okay, that makes sense. So because I was thinking maybe breaking down into some playlists, like, that are maybe 4 to 7. And I heard if your videos are long, you don't want too many in the playlist either, because you know what I mean. So there's a few strategies to execute, and I just thought this is something I haven't really executed on, and I'm probably losing out on opportunity to grow my channel, because there's a lot you can do with that.
Here's what I think is the truth here.
Yeah.
I think this is really smart to understand how this works. I think it's important to understand all of the things, the end screens, the cards. I talk about my ritual handoff inside of a card, super powerful, but it's easy to get lost in the minutia of all of these small things. And like one of the things we started with is titles and thumbnails. Like
Right.
I think it's important, again, to kind of swing back and say, thinking about and prioritizing the most important stuff. And as you do that, you can say, well, if I want to grow my channel fast, the most important thing, according to a lot of SEO experts, YouTube SEO experts, would be the thumbnail. So I'm going to really pay attention to the thumbnail first. I'm going to learn the keywords. Like, keywords are another great example. Like, to be able to like pull out a huge amount of additional watch time through pressing a button on official playlist, I'm not sure. Let me ask you, have you ever felt trapped on Nick Nimmin's channel?
No, and actually what's interesting is I don't consciously go to other people's channels to seek looking at the playlist set. I'll search a topic that I want on their channel. If I can find it and it's in a playlist, then I'll pop into the playlist. But I don't consciously even go to click on playlists. I'll just look on the video list, it's or in the sections on their channel homepage. But it's another way of creating more opportunity for them to binge watch, kind of thing.
Well, here's what I think, Gord, and I love what Nick shared. I teach it too, but again, I think it's important to just honor the viewer and honor what's most important. And my question to you is, like, have you ever felt trapped on Nick's channel? Like, when it was time to leave, did you feel like you couldn't find your way out? No, of course not. And I think, again, okay, so this is the point I want to make.
Yeah.
I think this is super important. And this is where people get lost in the minutia of all the things, is that I guarantee beyond a shadow of a doubt that you can double your watch time like that, just like that, if you use the right strategies and tactics. And the right strategies and tactics is learning how to create a compelling title that includes SEO words, and you've got a thumbnail to back it up. When you really think about that, when you practice the art and the colors and the contrast and the less is more and your own style and your own brand, and you do that, I think the potential is so much higher. Now, again, I love all that other stuff. Like, I've been thinking about some stuff with end screens. I got this cool idea about, like, when the video ends, you shouldn't show your other videos. You should only have your subscribe icon. And then you're literally at the end of your video, you're telling viewers, if you like this video. If this was helpful, make sure to subscribe. You're leaving the call to action.
Right.
That's a powerful tactic, but I don't think that's as powerful as ensuring that you're constantly saying, how can I take my thumbnails and my titles to the next level?
Yeah.
Well,
I also,
but I think it's, I think it's important. So
yeah, I find the end screen thing a little confusing anyways, because conceptually I've always heard when you're doing stuff on websites and other stuff, you don't want to have too many calls to action to confuse the people. And with the end screen, we can like bury that screen and people are like, do I want to watch another video or click on their opt-in for their download off site, or do I want to click on the subscribe? You know, too many choices leads to nowhere, right? And you go, oh, yeah, that's nice. Video's over.
I think it's not so bad. I think you just add in the subscribe call to the subscribe icon, which is a profile picture. You pull in a playlist or you pull in a couple videos, and again, I think that's just like, it's important for me to use those, and they really do help. Like I've leveraged these tools to get more, but again, just really honoring what's most important. And the most important thing, more than anything, is honoring what the viewer wants and taking care of their needs, and learning about, like you asked about retention, Gord, that's a great question. Like, let me answer that right now.
Yeah.
Can we talk about that?
Yeah, sure. Well, you can talk about that. And can you tell me, if you were looking at your audience retention analytics, like what in context of your answer, like what am I looking for in the analytics, and what kind of are common things people need to correct usually to improve their retention?
Yeah, this is awesome. Now I'm getting excited now, and again, I guess I don't hold a lot back, but I always try to be, I appreciate you, Gord, and you're doing awesome. But I feel like some of these points are important. I see so many people getting like channel tags. That's been popular always too. Like, what about the channel tags? Or another one in the Tube Ritual group was, but what about the video categories? It's like, that doesn't.
Yeah, I asked those two things. You know me. That was me asking both about those.
At the end of the day,
yeah.
Like, it's my job to meet everybody where they're at, and we need to figure out that those don't matter that much. But I just want to say, this is what does matter. Like, this is it. Like the retention, the videos, the compelling title, the SEO, the keyword phrases, and publish the next best video you can. If that's all you think about, you'll crush YouTube. You will crush YouTube so hard. But what's sad is a lot of people, they get all lost up in all of it. And all of it is just as important, which isn't true. So,
yeah, because
let's talk about the retention, because that's
before you say that, I was just going to say one of the other things which I left out was when we were talking about the playlist thing and cross-referring. I was going to say, so Brian, now tell me, what's the same strategy for keyword tags? And it's like another kind of one of these strategies, right, where you're saying that's not where to focus, right? Like for cross-pollinating keywords.
But here's the thing, honestly, like, so the tags, are we going to say channel tags or
video tags?
Oh, it's in my opinion, I want to think about those.
Okay, cool. Because I think I was going to ask you the question, which I forgot to, was, is there a strategy for before you go into retention, was there a strategy for keyword tags to correlate your other videos so that they, I guess that helps in showing up and suggested and all the other stuff as well, right? So if you want to just...
Ladies and gentlemen, I think it's time for an official survey. I think we've found a video title and topic that needs to happen. We'd love to have your participation. If you'd like to participate in this official survey, please sound off in the comments now. Here's what I think. I thought about this for a while. I think I need to publish a video that really identifies the 20 most important things to focus on YouTube.
Okay. That's quite a large number.
Yeah, but I was thinking that maybe that would be good, is to really look at these things for what they are, like what's most important. Like, that might be a cool video.
Larry Snow has said that Brian's looking for poodles when you gave that expression a moment ago. Are there poodles in the room?
They're upstairs chilling. They went for a walk today. I took them for a walk a couple days ago. That was pretty good.
Okay, so you're going to go into retention now, right?
Yeah. So audience retention, in my opinion, is the most important watch time metric, especially for small YouTubers. I don't think any other metric is more important to study than audience retention. And the reason why is simple, is that we hear about watch time all the time. And the big YouTubers are able to rank for so many things because they have so much accumulated watch time. So if you look inside of your analytics, in fact, let me show you here. I wonder if this will even work. If you look inside your analytics, I'll just pull up one of my videos as I share this here. Open in a new tab. You go to the overview for a specific video.
Right.
So I'll just, I'm going to search for my last hero video here. To Dom, and then it's going to pop up right there. So when we look here, I can't really.
Yep, I can. Okay.
I just want to see if I can.
Yeah, I could see the graphs there. If you just sort of point to them and tell us the message.
So I'm just seeing how. So where it says watch time, right? I can even get closer. So basically,
okay. Yeah, watch time.
It's like this one right here, the watch time, right?
Yep.
So right now, this video of mine has 48,000 minutes of watch time, and it's about 3 weeks old. So that's really good.
Really nice. Yeah.
And as a video ages, and if it's ranking, it's going to accumulate a crazy amount of watch time. And you look at really big channels, like let's say Nick Nimmin now, he'll publish a video and he'll have 5,000 views in 3 days. So he accumulates so much watch time, and that accumulated watch time helps him rank. But how do you break through as a small YouTuber? Well, if you have, let's say, a 5-minute video and your audience retention for that specific video is 4 minutes, that's going to be around, I think it would be about a 70% retention rate or so. And that's very high. And that's one of the ways in which YouTube measures the audience feedback. Like that's people saying, we really like this video, we watched most of it. And YouTube has gone on record, like I've shared a graph lately where it's from Creator Studio, and it says videos with above average to high audience retention are more likely to show up in search and suggested locations on YouTube. And because if it wasn't for retention, if it was just watch time, we would never grow because the big YouTubers would always crush us. So the thing we can think about is how do we increase that? The first thing you want to do is you've got to have that hook, which I always talk about. We all know about like having a strong hook, get right into the meat. The sooner you can get into the meat, the better. Some of the things I've been doing lately, the video that I actually spoke about, I didn't come in and have my own channel bumper. I didn't have my own specific call to action. I actually had my buddy Nick did it. And my whole idea of this was I wanted my subscribers to be kind of jarred and like, well, wait a minute, why is Nick in this video? And I wanted to like catch their attention again. And furthermore, and this is something that me and Nick have been working on, some super secret underground. I can't tell you everything or I'd have to hunt you down and kill you, and that would be messy, and so nobody wants that. But a strategy where we're sharing videos on the community tab, and we're working in a very strategic manner in order to basically like do a new style of collaboration. So what's so funny? It's
funny you should mention that. Is this similar to what Daryl Eves was talking about at Vid Summit, the clustering, the concept of clustering, or is that a little different with sort of people similarly at your level or in your niche that sort of like you can cross-pollinate and benefit by sort of co-participating across the board kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, at the end of the day, I think the channel clusters is interesting, but the thing I'm not a fan about the channel clusters is like, what do we do to get in the channel cluster?
Yeah, it's like
well, what do you do? Like, well, if you focus
status
on
crowd,
it's just like, it's kind of like YouTube's going to make up their own mind, but the video topics you choose, focusing on solid retention, all the things we're talking about, that'll help you get to where you want to go. But that's helped with my retention. Like, I want to stay on this retention topic. Another thing I've been doing recently, and it wasn't really planned, it just kind of happened, was, in fact, Gord, I'm going to ask you, have you noticed me saying, oh, if you're a subscriber, keep watching? Just say yes, Gord.
Yeah, I mean,
this
of
is
course.
Embarrassing.
Of course.
Dang it all. No, but for real though, that's actually helped quite a bit, and I've been breaking up my content. And sometimes there's Rodney. He said yes, and Sonny said yes. So one of the things I've been doing is, especially if I feel like I'm going to repeat myself here now for a moment, I'll say, oh, if you're a subscriber, you want to get through this, don't click off.
Yes.
I'm going to honor what you want. I've got good stuff coming. Just hang in there. And I really purposefully try to say it quickly, because I want people to keep watching. But furthermore, it's always true. Like, I know I need to get somewhere, but I feel it's important I cover this space here. And I've seen Nick do it as well. And I'm sure Nick influenced me, and that's been super effective. Well, and also like things like this too. So, like you mentioned, Brian, what do you do in the middle to keep people hanging on? And have you ever seen me do this?
Is this a hypnosis?
Yeah.
But I think you're honestly, I think you're
the screen. Can you change the screen to one of the other? I'm
Do you want this one, Brian?
I don't.
How's that?
Yeah.
Okay. I was just sharing the chat when you told everyone to spark up, so I started to share the screen with the chat.
Yeah, I know. Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Yeah, that's nice. But you should be big. I shouldn't be so big though.
No, you're the guest of honor. Now you threw me for a loop here. Well, were you finished on what you were saying there about retention?
I can keep doing this if this is fun.
Okay.
But yeah,
it's the microphone. No, what I was going to say is, what you do so well is, I don't know, I'll call it segues. And the way you perform, and whether you want to tell them to hang on or whether you want to hand off to another video, you really worked at tuning that ability in the way it comes across in the video, that I don't feel like you're disrupting me. It's just so smooth, and you work at that in your craft, right? Because I know many times I used to ask you, like, well, Brian, like, how do I just like introduce my better videos from Home Guide out of the blue when I'm doing a Camtasia tutorial on clip speed? It just doesn't fit. Do you know what I mean? And you would sort of give me ways to look at things and how to ease into it. And I think there's a skill there. That would be a good video, how to do those kind of things. Just mine. Yeah,
that would be, maybe that would be the latest retention or video structure video. That probably won't be for a few months. I just came out with one of those that I was happy with. But I think at the end of the day, again, it's really honoring what's most important. So the most important thing is the next video. And when we talk about the video, it's keeping the viewer watching and creating something they're really excited about. So they come back, so they subscribe, so they watch more videos, so they watch most of the video. And furthermore, when I wanted to do this, I wanted to entertain, I really went overboard when I started. And I think that was like, I was so immersed in learning and researching, and I was like, you've got to be entertaining. And then I forgot I was already like, it's weird. I'm an introvert, but yet I've got an ability to perform on video. There's something about it. Like, I thought David Bowie and Prince and like weirdos. I mean, clearly weirdos, but.
Well, hey, Cowhand's been on a long vacation.
Well, I killed him. I had to bury him out back.
Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. That's why the poodles look out the window so often.
Indeed. They're like, where's poor Cowhand? Yeah. He might come back.
So
we'll see.
Okay, so
you never know what's going to happen.
Another interesting thing is, you often say, give the audience what they want. So how do you, like, research is a bad word. Like, how do you learn more about that? Is it through experimenting with different things in your videos, surveys, or like, how do you connect or get your intelligence on dealing with feeding that what they want, discovering that?
Chocolate.
There's chocolate giveaways in Brian G. Johnson videos.
I think it's just being aware and studying and thinking. And again, here's what's up, right? Really honoring what you want. So earlier I said, do you want to have your creative freedom, or do you want to grow? So if you want to grow, then, and you're really serious about YouTube, like you have been, you've done such an amazing job, Gord. Like your live stream looks far better than mine. You know, I don't have any of this fanciness. But I have focused on the video, so I have that going for me, so that's good.
I hope that wasn't a comment about my videos.
No.
I'm just kidding. But Michael Daniels, who's here today, gave me amazing help to come up with this kind of cool look in OBS, and I'm really grateful for it, and he's some great stuff. And
oh, that's fantastic. So, yeah. It looks great, and Nick just came out with a video, and I figure I'll get there soon. But again, I've been so focused on exactly your question, Gord, and that is give the viewers what they want. And I'll tell you, like, I struggle with this all the time too. Like, I want to do collaborations and I want to do videos on a number of different topics, but my audience, they want to know how to get more subscribers, how to get more views. They're interested in what's happening on YouTube. They want to grow their channel. They want to make money on YouTube. And those are like kind of the 5 elements of wants through my viewers.
Right.
So
are you discerning that from what your statistics are telling you about your videos? Basically, are you driving at that? Because like if I were to do that, like my, 10 out of my top 12 videos are all Camtasia, and the funny thing is not necessarily the ones I thought would be my top ones that keep growing nicely and they're top ranked videos. But this is where I get to like, I fight with myself. I go, well, it's showing that this is what I should be doing more of, but I'm kind of like, I've kind of done that and covered it 2 or 3 ways already on the channel, but I really should be doing more. And this is where that art, you're calling it the artist, or I'm in it's partial boredom and just wanting to do something new and bring more interesting stuff to them and experiment. This is where I get like this tug of war. And then sometimes I'll go down that path and say, I made that decision to make another one of those. And then I may scrap it like 2/3 of the way done and decide, nope, my heart says it's got to go here. And then the artist intervenes a little. So I do some kind of bastardization of compromise between what they purely want and sort of what makes me happy too. Do you fight that?
I don't think I fight it nearly to the degree that you do, unfortunately, my friend. But I very well agree with you that we have intentions and we're excited about certain topics. We make videos, and then usually what happens is our highest performing videos are not the ones we had specifically planned. That being said, I will say I worked my butt off to make a hero video. I talked about it in the Tube Ritual group. I actually went to the I took the time to script out a video for about 5 days, probably put in 8 to 10 hours writing the script alone.
Yep.
And then I deleted about 30% of the script and I rewrote it. I took out a bunch of the stuff at the front, and I did that because I was honoring the viewers. And I felt that if I start this video off talking about these things, that I will lose the audience. They will go, I've heard Brian talk about retention. I've heard Brian talk about this. I'm 2.5 minutes in. I'm getting bored. They hang on for another 30 seconds and they bail. So it's interesting that I remember that space and time. I mean, literally think about this. How many of you here, let me know, either tell me I'm crazy or else say I've spent that much time on a script, and just leave a comment if you would. So either I'm crazy or you've spent 8 hours writing a script. And when I was done, I then got in front of the camera and I filmed for over 2 hours. So Gord, when you were commenting on how smooth my videos are now, and well, that's because I worked my butt off.
Well, I got to see you in at the Vid Summit. You guys did a lot of I'll call it on-demand videos there, collabs, and how you sort of, you'll do a take, and then if it was off, you just sort of like take a pause and then you recompose yourself and then you go. Whereas someone like me, in my earlier days, I would like, if I blew that take, it was like, oh my God, it's only going to get worse from here. You know, I'm 3 takes in, I'm never going to, it's coming out different every time. But you just like, there's something in you, in your discipline. Is it just practice, or, you know?
No, Gord, it sucks. I feel like I'm a crazy person. I struggle just as much as you. I'm not special at all. That's the thing that I think, and I hear, I've seen other people like rock stars or entrepreneurs talk this way, where it looks easy, but you don't see me like spending the time to work out that script. And here's the thing, I think we should talk about scripts.
Yeah.
And Gord, I'll go as long as you want to go, and then I'll be done for the day. So
yeah, I just had a few more goodies that I wanted to get through, and I think I'm really enjoying the conversation.
If you want to up your watch time?
Yeah, I'm all for it. I got some more great stuff to ask you, and I want to respect what works best for you. And the people seem to be enjoying it as well. So there's a lot of great comments here.
So all I'm saying is I can go for a long time, and I'm not going to live stream on my own channel. If you want to quit after...
Okay, this is great. So this is why I brought some food, so I wouldn't starve. Maybe you should have a sip of water there, Brian.
I will. I'll go get one soon.
I'll have a sip here.
Anyway, so let me keep going about this whole thing. So like that particular video, that hero video, I filmed for about 3 hours. Then I imported it all into my computer. Then I imported it all to my external hard drive. Then I imported it all to Final Cut Pro, and then I color corrected it, and then I edited it for 3 hours, and I said, this is crap, and I deleted everything, and I started again. So my answer to that is, it's interesting that when I started, my most successful video was one that was unexpected, but knowing what I know today, understanding the algorithm, having the sacrifice to work hard and just to do all the stuff that sometimes is hard, I was able to say, this isn't going to work. And I'm glad I took the time, because at the end of the day, I felt like I had one opportunity to publish a video on suggested algorithm. I felt like people have been asking me about this, and I haven't done it yet. And even before I got to start working on it, I thought about it for a few months. And when I started putting it together, I really worked hard. And this is some more, like, I feel like we're getting to some really cool stuff right now. Is I really worked hard to talk about it in a new way. Like, a lot of people have read the PDF white paper, deep neural network for YouTube recommendations, but I haven't heard anybody else talk about expected watch time per impression, which is it's very important. Like, if you don't understand how that works, you don't understand how important a thumbnail is, and if your thumbnails suck, you're freaking doomed. So that, you know, in that kind of a scenario, it's like, this really sucks that I have to stop and start, but you've already thought about and you've already put time into working on this video. So actually, by losing 4 or 5 hours and deleting everything and going back and starting again was the best decision I made, because I published my best video, the video that so many people said that was such an amazing video. The video that right now, it converts three people in 100. So for every 100 visitors, I get 3 subscribers. So
nice.
I kind of went off there and just kind of kept, I guess I was kind of riffing there.
This got me to something interesting where you just went with that, because we talked about playlists, but in the overall picture, do you actually plan out your playlists, the timing of what videos you're going to release when, and sort of building out a higher picture of that planned release schedule to fit things together to serve people? And the reason why I'm asking that, because after you answer that, as far as it affects your channel, I have a diversified channel where I'm wanting to serve 3 or 4 different areas, like Camtasia, social video, YouTube, video marketing, because I see all of this is tied to video. And I'm trying to think, like, what about for all of us out here that need a growth strategy on how to manage that? Like, I look at people like Roberto Blake, who've done, you know, a great job at doing that. But I also see him talk about adjusting his focus now and maybe serving a few of those areas a little more than others, and things change over time. So can you share some good advice on that? First, how you do it and how you tackle a diversified situation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's really important to honor who you are as an individual. So when you talk about Roberto Blake, Roberto has spoken about the idea of him just sticking to one kind of specific topic wasn't of interest. I've seen some YouTubers can crank out a tremendous amount of content. Excuse me. And that works really, really well for them. Casey Neistat, has probably gone 120 days or a year straight with a video, and his videos were fantastic. And yet there have been other channels that have done amazing with one video a week. The thing you have to do is honor who you are, number one.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be anybody else. You've got to focus on being like people say, like, who might inspire you? And I'd say the people around me inspire me. People might say, who's the individual that you want to become? And I'm like, well, I just want to be the best damn Brian G. Johnson I can be. Like, I respect Roberto a lot. I really like Roberto's been kind. He's been smart. He's been super helpful. Hey, what's going on? Cutting the caboose in the house. Danielle, nice to see you. Thank you for the super.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much. Cutting the caboose, very kind, and welcome. We're watching the chat too. Everybody, I'm just like mixing it up. The comments are great and I appreciate it. And I'm just trying to be careful not to interrupt Brian. That's why I haven't jumped there that much, but feel free to throw some questions in there too. We'll take them as we're going. And sorry, Brian, this is very important stuff that you're talking about in terms of like honoring yourself. And the reason why I ask is I struggled with this so much, and it took me to get some results in a certain way to feel validated and more confident about being me and not trying to see what the others are achieving and executing on YouTube. And I think it's so easy to fall into that trap and say, oh, look, there's Nick 140K subs, Brian approaching 30K sub, and here I am at 2K, and I'm going like, maybe I should try to be like them or copy them. And then I go, no, because in the long run, none of that's going to be sustainable, because people are going to want to connect with me. Just like I'm here on the live stream, people are finally getting to see, more of what I am, and we're most happy in who we are ultimately, anyways. And the sooner we realize that, right?
Absolutely, yeah. That's just it. And at the end of the day, hey Drew, thanks for stopping by. So good to see you today, my friend. I see you're going to roll out. Gord, it's totally natural for us to gain more confidence and feel better as we see results. And I think that's totally natural. It's just early. We have to somehow find the audacity and courage to move forward and to continue doing the thing when the only thing we have to go on is faith. And what's really cool is the more you stick in and the more you do, the better your results are. And then that gives you a little bit more faith the next go around. So maybe you'll do something like a podcast in 3 years. And in the beginning, you'll probably have a little bit more faith to get you by in the early days, because you didn't give up and you made it happen and so on. So
right. Well, Brian, you know me, I'll want to do it quick, and then I'll get all upset because I didn't do it so quickly. Maybe that won't be the case though. Yeah, I didn't know when I started this challenge, my 4,000 hours challenge, which, by the way, everybody, here's a quick update. Before I started this live stream with Brian, I'm just 109 hours away. So it's going spectacularly well, and I'm learning so much and growing so much, and I appreciate all your support. And I'm going to share the lessons and things, because I think this self-discovery process has been huge. And take example right now, I'm here with Brian. I think I've done 4 or 5 live streams in just 2 weeks, right? And for how long did I play the mental game, Brian, saying I wanted to do some interviews, that you can recall?
Yeah. Well, he started making me crazy, so that's when I got upset. Because I'm borderline, and so I had to say, Gord. Hey, Doug is in the house. Good to see you, Doug. What is going on? Welcome. We're hanging out with Gord today. Turns out I do have to catch a flight in about 16 hours, or no, not even that. In 13 hours. So that means I can stay on Gord for at least 11 hours. So I think we'll be able to handle 100 hours of watch time.
Oh, that's awesome. So we're going to crack it tonight. And maybe at the same time, we get you over 30,000 subs in the process.
Well, whatever will be, will be.
Will be, exactly. And it'll be all good. So can you finish telling me about your planning videos and playlists, right? And you were getting into blind faith, and I'll never forget the video you did where you were out walking with the poodles, and you mentioned the blind faith thing, because I think that's the toughest thing for the YouTubers starting out and for a period of time, because we all have this expectation that we're going to, like, you know, statistically grow in a reasonably quick time because we think we're going to do an okay job when we get on there, and then it's always, you know, not what we expect.
Yeah. So as far as structuring the videos and the blind faith and whatnot, it's interesting. You mentioned the video where I was out walking. It was almost like, people call things vlog styles. And like, I have a certain way I think of vlogs, and that wasn't it. That was me walking with dogs. It wasn't a vlog. But I think as far, Gord, is structuring the videos, here's where I'm at with this is, again, it's important for me to honor the viewer. And in order to do that, I have to be, and this is interesting because I almost feel like what I'm going to say is going to cause struggle with you, is I need to be inspired and excited by the subject matter. So I'm not going to think about, like, you know, on June 2nd, I'll be creating videos about the merger of live streaming and Facebook and YouTube. Like, no, like whatever I'm excited about in June is what I'll be creating videos about. But I do know that I've still got plenty of gas in the tank with YouTube. I've still got plenty of gas in the tank with video marketing. And all I need to do is think about, and here I go again, is think about my next video. And I'm going to stay in the subject I'm in, which is YouTube, and the whole consecutive winner strategy. Maybe we should start heading there next.
Oh, that's a good one.
Is basically, so I'm going to just, one of the things I do is I've mentioned this many times to people, is I have this notes app, which actually it's been working so well because, like, literally you can see, like, here are all my video notes.
I can't see. Can you bring it up a little closer, like you did before? That would help. That would help.
Well,
I know. You've shown us. You keep like a sort of a log of your ideas.
Do it right now.
There we go.
It's very hard.
Yeah, on the left side. Yeah, okay.
It's just a white screen.
Yeah.
It's the notes app. It's the notes app, and basically, if I think of an idea, I'll throw it in there. And sometimes ideas get deleted. Sometimes ideas start getting fleshed out. Sometimes an idea is 12 or 20 words on the page. And other times I'll spend, like I said, 8 hours literally writing out what I'm going to say. But I'll continue to always be evolving those. And when it gets close to time to film, then I'm going to go in and I've got to have a lot of ideas to work with. Yeah. And I've already started, like, I know I've got one in the bank right now that's going to be based on tools and how I'm combining tools together to be able to take, like, I'm going to show how to modify Google Trends.
Modify Google Trends.
Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like Cowhand just...
I want to see the blue shades. Because those are my favorite. Yeah, this is it, everybody. Yep, those are them.
Those the shades right there?
Yep. Okay.
Like, you like this one.
Okay.
Everything is fast, really fast.
Now there's super higher power even being channeled in. You said you were going to follow that up with something about the consecutive winner strategy. You said
yeah. So this again, I feel like this is really how you honor what the viewers want. So I know the subject matters, the video subject matter that does really well. Thank you, Lizzie. Nice to see you. Hey, Rodney, how you doing? And Car, Galaxy, all the cool people, Sunny and Lola. I know the subjects that are going to do well, and I know I want to grow. I know the benefits that will come. Like example, tomorrow I'm leaving and I'm going to speak at a mastermind. I'm staying in a swanky hotel, and they paid for my flight. They paid for the hotel. I get to hang out with 50 high-level marketers, and the guys that are running it are at the top of a game. And I got to do that because of the results that I'm driving. So that's worth it to me. And furthermore, it's you know what? It's weird. It's like when you start getting in that groove, it's like it's not that much of a struggle. So I'm really purposefully right now looking at like, okay, I'd like to do this other kind of a subject. I'd like to maybe do a group collab, or I do this, or maybe I'm going to cover, like, here's an example. This one's hard, and I'm sure I'll cover it at some point. But for whatever reason, videos that I've talked about, thumbnails, have not done well at all. Not well at all. Most people want to know how to make a thumbnail, which I can kind of show people that. And even those haven't done that great. Right. I might get a subscriber for every 400 views, versus my algorithm videos, I'll get 3 or 4 subscribers for every 100 views. It's like literally getting 10 times the amount of subscribers. So for me, it's really just thinking, what can I publish that the largest percentage of my subscriber base is going to be interested in and click on. Another example would be, someone asked me, Brian, would you do a video on Final Cut Pro? And I'm like, not right now. No, I won't. And I thought about Final Cut Pro, but it would alienate a big chunk of my viewers and subscribers. Really interesting, Gord. If you're on the Morning Fame page, on the velocity, there's a little icon in the upper right-hand corner, and it's returning subscribers. And that graphic has been going through the roof lately. And literally in 3 months, I've increased the amount of returning subscribers by 50%, from about 900 to right now over 1,500. So really, really cool stuff.
Okay, we have a super chat here from Chris Heidelbaugh. Thank you so much, Chris. And he has a question for us. He says, I've heard that the first 48 hours or 7 days is a big deal for videos. As a new channel, you need videos to get views, but no one knows you, so you don't get views. So what strategy do you recommend? So I guess there's two things here. There's that window, and then I guess beyond, or how you should be looking at the whole package, right, of time. Yeah.
So let's take care of this question, and then Lizzie's got a question too. So Gord, just copy that question from Lizzie or whatnot, and we'll get Chris's question.
I will
so
do.
Chris, thank you so much for the super chat. That was really generous. One of the things to understand is the YouTube algorithm. It has to be designed to be able to discover up-and-coming stars. If it wasn't, like I said, no channels would ever grow. It would be all the big channels. And think about what a loss that would be. Think about like the artists that are coming up right now in music. If those artists weren't able to break through, which there's always room for people to break through. So one of the things that YouTube does is it pays attention to percentages, and it pays attention to past performing history. In fact, the very last video that I shared, if you've seen that one, Chris, you'll see in the beginning of the video, I say, now, today we're going to talk about trends, and we're also going to talk about evergreen topics. And things have been going really great for my channel. In fact, check out this statement from YouTube Analytics. And I show a statement, and it basically says, this video broke your channel record for most views in 1 week, which is exactly what you're talking about. So that tells me that YouTube has programmed the algorithm to be aware when a channel breaks a record. And if it was my platform, I would use that as an indication to a channel that is growing an audience. And time and time and time again, when we read about YouTube, they talk about our viewers coming back to the channel. They talk about, don't worry about the algorithm, worry about the audience and what's going to draw an audience. And as you do well, so right now, if your channel's new and it's small, you might be able to drive 200 views in the first 2 days or something. And if that's what you do and that's your best, that's great. If in a week you hit 250 views, then YouTube's going to take notice. You just achieved a new high, and YouTube's going to pay a little bit more attention to your channel. And basically what I believe is you work and you build things up video after video until it becomes a tipping point. And what happens is you basically eclipse all other channels on the platform. There's a lot of channels that they suck. Let's just be honest. They're bad channels. They're bad videos. They don't do well. And then there's small channels that are they make a good thing, 1 in 20 videos. And then there's channels that are, 2,000-3,000 to 10,000 subscribers, and they've got something happening. Mm-hmm. And then you start getting to this point where the percentage of channels drops dramatically. Like the percentage of channels that have over 100,000 subscribers, probably very, very low. Mm-hmm. So I believe is as you continue to grow, as you continue to push those stats, YouTube takes notice and is going to be more likely to mm-hmm. push your video out into search and suggested when it sees that people are returning. And that's why I've been talking a lot about this whole idea of consecutive winners, because if I can't bring people back, I can't trip the algorithm. Like literally, like when you see videos that say trigger the algorithm, that's a very real thing. And my wife laughed at me because it's like, like I came around the corner and I had this in my hand, but it's chapstick and it's not a cigar. And but that's how it works. And again, I think if we all as creators take it upon us and our responsibility to make the very best videos we can, and we're paying attention to being compelling with thumbnails and doing the SEO and paying attention to retention, don't say that fast, and you do all these things, it'll absolutely work out.
Yeah, and I honestly also believe that, I get pretty excited when I just launch a video and you can see YouTube actually gives you, status to be right in there for viewing and get exposure for your video, and, patience also. And this idea of the consecutive winner thing, I find very interesting, because sometimes you have one that doesn't do so well. And, I've heard them refer to saying, well, you're kind of like as good as your last performance, and you could be penalized if you have a bad video, or do you really believe that it's held against you that significantly? If you consider, you have hundreds of videos now, Brian, it's just one. So I mean, some of the things I hear, I go like, that's crazy. Just whatever you do.
So let me qualify your question. Yeah. Are you asking, like, if I release a video and it doesn't do great right now, is it gonna hurt me right now?
Yeah, will it affect your strategy for what you're gonna release next? And did it impact me? Like I've heard some people say if you put out a piece of crap, you're gonna be like, there's a penalty.
Yeah, and I'm very optimistic. That's my nature, mm-hmm. and it's hard to say. Could you be penalized? Sure. I like to think about it more as you don't get a treat. So in other words, if you keep moving forward, if you keep doing positive things, things are going to build. If you do something just totally like right now, if I do a how to edit in iMovie on your computer, right, it probably wouldn't do nearly as good. Although right, in 9 months, it could do really well in search, which right, is interesting. But for right now, I want to stay in the theme, within the topic, and I want to continue to push the velocity numbers and so on. And in doing that, it really is growing. And it's mm-hmm. If I go to Morning Fame and I look at my best performing videos on the velocity tab and I sort by views, it's interesting that the top 10 have about 7 of them have been published in the last few weeks based on this strategy.
Wow.
And furthermore, and I will say, like, I'm spending more time right now on the videos, and now I'm just gonna say this and we'll go on to the next thing. Sure. But that being said, what's interesting is this sheer act of just focusing on the videos, whether you write a script, whether you don't write a script, and making videos, you will become able to create great videos on the fly. Like when the partner program news came out, I remember I went to bed that night. I'm like, what's going on with this crap again? I don't dabble in that. It's just not where I roll. I'm like, I've got a job to do. I got a channel. this isn't my lane. I'm going to crush YouTube and I need to focus. But at the same time, I need to change that a little bit. And the reason why is the people on YouTube are interested in that. The people that watch my videos are interested. And I went to bed and I woke up the next day and I noticed there was a bit of rumbling going on in the Facebook group, other videos. And then I got a message. I started messaging with Nimmin, which we do that probably a few times a week. It's pretty early for me, probably about 5 in the morning. And he's like, dude, yeah, this is really, really a huge deal. He's like, and at the time, Nick said he was going to make a video. And now it's interesting because I'm totally like, I'm going to make another video and then it comes out on this day. And I started thinking, I need to respond to this. And I literally took a sheet of paper, made a few bullet points in about 10 minutes. And the video I created was really good. And it was good because I've been in front of the camera so many times and I've practiced, delivering the lines, and it's helped me hone my delivery that you talked about today. So just by repeating and repeating, it's like, one of the things I say is if you want to be a great painter, paint more pictures. If you want to be a great golfer, hit more balls. So it works out, Yeah.
Anyway. So it can be easy to be, I guess, distracted in other ways too, where, you could take that message and like you said, process it the wrong way and not focus on, well, you're here with a purpose and a mission on YouTube, and that's what you're going with. I noticed a bunch of other people joined not long ago. I saw Doug Hewson there, and Cricket joined. There's Josephine and some other people here. Yeah, wow, it's quite amazing. So, Brian, so you don't, like you said, you need to get inspired. You have your notes page and you have your list of videos and kind of things that are sort of like what's ahead and what interests you. I find the concept of like scheduling a way out with the topics to be like, I have no idea that I'm going to be, like you said, inspired to specifically do something on a specific day. So, what I asked before, and I'm not sure that we fully covered it, was if I'm running a diversified channel like I am, how do you sort of like feed the different areas strategically for growth? Is there such a way that I can do that, right? So like I have my, the Camtasia people to keep happy. I'm, want to do stuff on YouTube now, and I've done several things like these kind of live conversations are part of contribution to serving there. Do you have some ideas for growth on how to manage someone that's running more under an umbrella niche and it has a little more diversification under there?
Yeah, for me, it's I would really focus on a playlist at a time and think of one, basically a playlist. So if you've got videos on Camtasia, which we both know you're doing that great, I would do like at least 1 or 2 videos for Camtasia a month. And then you might think, okay, over the next few months, I'm also going to add into the mix another topic that I want to cover that I'm excited about. And what you can do is you can say, well, what are the people that are showing up for the Camtasia videos? What would they be interested in? That's a sideline. So, or an offshoot of that topic. So it could be YouTube. It could be
the
maybe
social videos. Like I'm doing the whole social videos topic, showing people how to do videos for social and micro content for ads and video marketing. So that social video topic was one, remember, Brian, we talked about that, and I started that playlist group, and that seems to be doing okay. It's not a high volume search thing, but those videos are doing reasonably well, and I think it's a good service item for those other people.
Yeah, so what I would do then is I would kind of focus on that, and at that point now you've got 2. You've got Camtasia, you got your social videos, and I would, again, in the honest answer, I believe, Gord, is it really depends on, again, what success means to you. If you just want to make what you want to make when you want to make it, then that's the creative freedom, and you honor that. If you want to grow, and that's super important, which you mentioned, then I would really focus on social video and Camtasia, and I would really think about, like, I'm going to figure out what the keywords are that will help me get the most bang for my buck with these type of videos. And I would make sure to make at least, 10 or 20 of those kind of videos over the next few months. And then at that point, I would come back and I would analyze, and I'd say, okay, how are we doing? Do we have a new audience coming in? Am I ranking for new search terms? And then when it's time to branch out again, when you're bored, you say, okay, now I have this and this. Is there another topic that will kind of feeds all together, and so on? And I think that's how you can branch out successfully.
Okay, cool. I just remembered now, and I'm going to feed in. Remember, you told me to keep Lizzie's question, so I have that.
Yeah,
here.
I got it right here.
Okay. I'll read it. It says, do you alternate between making videos for subscribers and videos to attract new subscribers through search, or do you try to do the double whammy in each video?
So for me, Lizzie, like what I mentioned is I really want to grow, and I've got a pretty narrow niche, but I can go off. I can do like a little videos that are a little off the beaten path. Like one example is I do want to talk about branding again. That was what I started with on my channel, and I'm passionate about branding. In fact, when I go speak tomorrow, I'm giving 2 presentations. I'm going to open with branding because I feel that's general and it leads into YouTube. But right now, I would not do that. So it's important to just honor what you want, Lizzie. And if you really want to grow, then I think looking at where your channel is at and making a decision based on that. Now, here's the other thing. I think it's super important not to focus too much on your subscribers too early. And in my opinion, most smaller YouTubers, so that would be any YouTuber that has less than, let's say, 5,000 subscribers. I think if you've got less than 5,000 subscribers, you don't worry about subscribers. You worry about what you're trying to achieve. And this sounds harsh, right? It's like, oh my God, he doesn't care about us. Of course I care. I care. I like read everybody's name. I know all of these people. I know all of you because we're human. We're social creatures. That's just how it works. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, this is the demographic. It's huge. Mm-hmm. And here's my subscriber base. It's very small. So I'm going to really think about bringing in the people I want to bring in that are in the larger demographic. And I'm going to focus on that until I have at least 5,000 subscribers. And the real answer isn't based on how many subscribers, it's how many active subscribers. And to do that well, then you do the same thing I'm talking about, which is consecutive winners. And you think about, okay, what is the demographic? How old are they? Are they male or are they female? What keywords are they interested in? What keeps them up at night? What are their issues? And the more you understand their needs and wants, the more you can create content that they're really going to love. And then you honor that. I think where some people get mixed up is they get comments, which we all love the comments, and a few like let me ask you, Gord. It honestly doesn't happen to me anymore. But do you ever get swayed by, can you make this kind of a video?
Some of the topics and suggestions are interesting, and yes, I've charted down a few of those items. I've made I think only 1 or 2, but I don't have that huge a number of suggestions per se. But I'm trying to learn. Well, I think, you know, in something like Camtasia, I still think mostly about what it is I want to help people learn, and I don't get a ton of suggestions, but there have been some great ones, and I've done a few videos. So yeah, I mean, so it just a bit to your answer. I guess I don't have that volume of requests that maybe someone with a channel your size has. So
well, yeah. And for me, Gord, I see, like I say, I see smaller creators, and no one's like, I don't like using the word small creator. I think it brings the community down, like, because we all offer a lot of value on this platform and whatnot. But I do see subscribers they're on the way up, and they've got dreams and visions, and yet a few comments from a very small group of people can kind of derail a channel in a direction, because it's like someone's giving me feedback, which is, we all want feedback. But at the same time, I think it's important to honor like what you're trying to achieve.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't feel the risk personally of derailing my channel for something way off the cuff, that just because someone says, oh, you'd be good, why don't you just make something on that? If it doesn't fit in alignment, I wouldn't hesitate to to do some, you know, to pass on that. I'm curious now, Brian, with my challenge, I decided to do live streaming. As you know, it's something that I wanted to dig into, and I am an interesting case for this question. So where does live streaming fit into the strategy? With just the ones I've done now in the last couple of weeks, you know, with like Ileane Smith, yourself, and Nick, and I'm getting a huge amount of watch time to my channel, and I'm really grateful for it. Where do you think it fits in? Because you've always said to me, make another Gord video. And I'm going, but I also love doing what I'm doing right here with you now, and I haven't really explored it. How would you say one should balance that, or determine an approach to integrating live streaming into their channel content?
Great question. Hi, Cricket and Herman and all the cool people dropping in right now. Elance, E for Electric.
Oh yeah.
What's going on?
Alex.
Good to see you.
Hi, Cricket, and hi,
Alex.
Herman. Yep, David.
So Gord, this is how you do it, and this is how you really ramp everything up. You're to the point now where I think there's a lot of technology and it can be overwhelming, but every single time you go live, it's worked out pretty okay. Is that correct?
Yes.
So I think if you really want to grow, then the best thing you can do is to focus, like I always tell you, is to focus on your videos and do what you can to prioritize those videos versus prioritizing the live stream. It's interesting because I remember when I started live streaming, I told people how excited I was about live streaming. And you were one of those people that were really excited. I'm like, there's no editing. You can connect. You can make money. You can push your watch time, and you can do all those things. But at the same time, the platform is a video platform. Now, there are plenty of people like Alex is a great example, who's doing great with E for Electric with live streaming.
Yeah, he's every day, sometimes multiple times a day.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's totally awesome. And if you want to do that, you can do that. For me, I love the video. The platform, again, for me to get the results I want, like there's so much long-term growth and long-term potential with one ranked video. You don't quite have the ranking power with a live stream. You can rank a live stream, you can, but there's not as much power, like I said. So you see sometimes a live stream that ranks from Roberto Blake because he's got 200,000 subscribers,
right?
And he can hold 150 people consecutively for 2 hours, which is interesting now because I'm getting very close to that, and Nick is already there, so that's cool for me. But how do you get to 150,000 subscribers? For me, the path is video, because I want to be able to, again, publish a video that ranks for years, which is working. So I think what I would what I would encourage you to do, Gord, is to focus on making a great video a week, and to put the live stream like as a secondary thing, knowing that you've got the abilities and you've got the skills, and you don't need to spend a bunch of time it's good to plan, but quite honestly, I bet you could have planned similar questions in 5 minutes or 10 minutes with a coffee in the morning for today's live stream. Now, because you've taught yourself how to do the live stream, you've got the graphics, it looks cool. Like, you don't need to really spend the time, but it would be easy to. So if you can find the courage and in the sacrifice too, right? Because it's like you do have to make a video. And part of me, like, you love doing the live streaming. Which
and the funny thing is, I didn't think I would love it to the degree that I am, because I know I have this curiosity of asking lots of questions, as you know, and oftentimes way too long. But I need this form of expression. And what I'm finding interestingly through the challenge is the fact that because I'm so into the live streaming, and I'm like, I do my research to prepare for each one, no matter what, because I'm still at that level. And I agree with you, in time, as I call it, my confidence muscle builds and the courage, I'll need less preparation work to do that. But for right now, I do whatever I need to do to give me peace to be able to go, live. I'm here with Brian G. So, you know, I'll do whatever I need to do to get myself comfortable, but then I'm going to grow and, you know, figure it out from here. And that's why, you know, I mean, I'm really enjoying it. And now when it gets time to go do the Gord video, it's like, it's going to be a job, but I love doing the Gord videos, but it's like, it's like me trying to handle multitasking on, I never was doing the live stream before. So it's like just another thing bouncing in my head as an option to explore. Right.
So here's a few things to think about. I think at the end of the day, like, live streaming is awesome. Look at that.
Wow. Alex, thank you so much. That's
Alex,
very kind.
Dropping that 50. That's awesome.
It is. Thank you, man. That's very, very cool. Thank you. Go ahead.
So here's something to think about, Gord, is that, you know what, just do what you're doing right now. But at a certain point, I think you're going to have a talk with yourself and you're like, okay, I've got it down now and I need to move forward and I need to focus on the videos again. And I think at that point, when you get to that point, the longer you don't get back to videos, the more you're going to like have this internal struggle and whatnot.
Yes.
So enjoy it now. But one of the things I was trying to, I was sharing with you is the fact is like every time you go live, it looks great. It sounds great. It's totally fine. And I think if you push yourself, and I like to challenge you, I like to challenge myself. I like to challenge, you know, people in the group, like challenge yourself to set up a live stream and do some preparation. But at the same time, like maybe like I'm going to spend 10 minutes coming up with topics and then I'm done.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, like you know the subject, like you could have taken 10 minutes and written down questions for me and you would have been fine. Yeah. Like maybe you spent an hour, maybe you spent 3 hours, maybe you spent 10 minutes, but being able to just get to the, like, I know right now, me and Nick Nimmin, it's like, so we're going to do a subscriber hangout today. Yeah. And it works great. And
well, totally, I mean, Brian, let's be honest. There are a lot of people that don't have the courage and are fighting some internal battles on mindset to even have the courage to put their face on camera. So the concept of live streaming with, like, you know, not it being able to be a recorded thing that they can edit or trash and redo. For some, it's not so easy. I'm saying we all come from a different place. And I think the main thing I'm trying to show by this experience was that I tried and I'm feeling like better than I expected, that I would enjoy it and it would be smoother than the whole pregame.
So I guess what I'm saying, Gord, is like, and we have this. It's funny, we have this dialogue often.
Right.
It's like you're swinging back to now, but a lot of people are nervous and video is scary and live is even worse. And so I'm doing okay, but it's like, my whole thing is like,
no, but I was there. That's why I share that.
No, I get it. And it's totally good. Cool. Like we all have that. That's part of being human, is having that fear, but you're there now. And like I said, your live stream looks better than mine because I haven't put that much effort into mine yet. And you're doing really, really well. So just know that, like, from a logical standpoint, if I went all Spock, like, you're there. So just pushing yourself a little bit to know that you've got the skills and abilities needed to be able to perform okay. And furthermore, here's what's up. Like, did you see the live stream where Nick didn't have any audio?
Yes, for about a good they took a while before they got dialed in. Then they went on and did almost 6 hours.
And who cares? Like,
exactly.
Do you think of any less of Nick?
No way. Well, I started my very first one in this series of YouTube live streams with Ileane Smith, and for 17 minutes I fumbled before we said, we're going to Google Hangouts now. That was our plan B, that she said, like, hey, Gord, like, don't sweat it. I got your back. And she did. But I had my sweat, you know, but part of the reason why I never went live was for that very risk of happening. So I decided to stay off the field, not play, which was kind of sad because even with that total flub up, I'm here still. You know, I just let it weigh far too heavy. And, you know,
well, you got past it. And that's the point. You know, we all, like, for me, think about my stuff, like my early videos, and it's not like one, it's like It's so many, and I've struggled too. I've had a lot of talks with people that I consider mentor, Joel Comm and Nick Nimmin, and like, should I unlist them? Should I keep them?
Right.
And so most people said just don't do anything, keep it the way it is. Joel Comm actually said, if it makes you uncomfortable, enlist it, no problem. And I'm to the point right now, and this may be good feedback for other people, is that, you know, we all are human and we all go through these struggles. And one of the things that I'm super proud of is,
Mm-hmm.
you know, I hear a lot of people talking about like, be brave and do something different and have the courage to move forward and express yourself. And then I did that, and then like there was plenty of hate and whatnot. Now I also had a cult following, which made it really weird. Like there was a huge group of people, thousands. The channel was growing by thousands every month, so it was working, but it wasn't quite right. It wasn't right for me.
Yeah.
So some people might say, I loved it, bring that stuff back. Well, for me, it wasn't quite in alignment with what I wanted to do. But now I get to look back and I get to tell the story. And I get to use that as an example. I get to go back. Like, I know I've got some videos in me where I'm going to be able to break down the audience. I'm going to be like, this is why it didn't work. So yeah, there was a percentage of people that liked.
Actually, that's a great idea.
And
using yourself as an example earlier on will give a lot more power to the message.
Well, we're going to do it on an analytical level, and I'm going to find, I know which video it's going to be, and I will share audience retention metrics from when the video came out and my subscriber base watched, and I went straight to top 1, 2, or 3 in YouTube for a powerful search term. I stayed there for 6 months, but then slowly I started losing my positions because what happens? Well, then, and by the way, this is another powerful conversation that we need to talk about, and I'll cover this in videos. But here's something nobody talks about on YouTube: is it's actually two audiences. When you're publishing a video, especially as you get more established, you've got the subscriber base that comes in and watches, but you've got to publish videos that people that don't even know you like, which is a lot more challenging. But by just continuing and practicing, I can see that difference now. So, you know, I did that too, Gord, and we all go through that. But at the end of the day, by trying to say, you know, it is a little scary, and I want to step back and be in that safe spot too. But you have everything working for you right now too. Yeah. And I think you can somehow switch your mindset on the video. And I think, like, I like to make it a big production, but I like the race. Like I was I was an athlete for many years. I bike raced and skied and cross country skied with women in my high school because they didn't have a men's team. And I was like, hey coach, this skiing looks pretty cool. I'm a bike racer. And so I kind of did all these athletic things where competing was a big deal. Anyway, let's move on.
No, I totally get you. And you know what? I mean, that's all in me too. I was hardcore tennis and hockey, and then I had my bad car accident in 2005, and that just changed everything for me. It changed a lot of perspective on life and things. But the competitive spirit has never gone away, and so we should really be focused on competing with ourselves and getting to be you know, our the best that we can be, and then appreciate that, and then by having less focus on comparing to others, we'll be able to, you know, not get distracted as much by and let our emotions ride up and down by focusing on the other people. But it's not easy, because I feel that YouTube feeds us with all this crack candy statistics that I can get, you know, absorbed in. I mean, you know, it's just phenomenal. Like, I mean, you know all about this because of the degree to which, you know, you analyze a lot of the statistics and educate us on how to use them to help ourselves, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's all there. And I think we all him and ha and overanalyze the statistics in about 6 different ways. You know, you start, if you're a normal person, you start on your iPad before you've had coffee, and you go straight to your most recent subscriber gain. because
Yeah.
you probably gained 30 or 40 or 50 while you were sleeping. You got to know about those. Then you head straight to Social Blade to
Right.
see how many you got yesterday and where you're at today. Then you go through and you try to pull up the audience retention reports on your most recent videos. Now, when you're done with that, now the lackeys would probably quit there, but a hardcore YouTuber will absolutely fire up the mobile app so you can go in and you can pull up more specific information.
Well, you can do that while you're still in bed.
and I do sometimes.
I mean, it's like you could do a whole routine in the morning. I found this very interesting. Alex put in a comment that he said Alex goes E for Electric. He goes on every day, and he says he doesn't like to go on camera. Okay, I don't like being on camera. Weird. And I'm wondering, like, okay, so what's driving somebody like that to get over whatever that is? He must be so inspired by the topic and subject and how he's serving that he's able to, like, just plow through that. I mean, I think that's really impressive.
So when we were at Vid Summit, Gord, I hung out with a pretty high-level YouTuber, and wasn't Roberto, it wasn't Nick, and I mentioned about, like, psyching yourself to go up on camera because you know, I like the word ritual, and every time I make a video, I go through this ritual because it's like, you know, you're putting yourself in front of the world, you're totally exposed, and it takes a lot of energy to do that. And also going live, and like for me, going live is a little less intimidating because I know I don't tend to overthink. Like if I'm making a video, it's just me alone with the camera, and I've got the internal dialogue that I fight. So, and I'm also looking for that comedic delivery, which is really fun, but it's also really challenging. I'm looking for that, like, flow and ease and, like, kind of a quirky little something on the side, and that to me is what YouTube is. But to get to that place, it's like I can only imagine Robin Williams, you know, and how he ended his life, and Prince, and how he died of a drug overdose, and a lot of people that are performers. Like it's hard, and like I said, I fight it too, and Alex mentions that it's a struggle for him when he goes live, and I'm not surprised at all because it doesn't come it's not natural to, like, talk to a camera for an hour and a half in your basement with two poodles. Now, I will say, and I've got this super duper video coming up next week, and the backdrop's over there, the window that's orange is lit up. There's the cowboy, and you can't really tell in the videos, but right to the I guess it would be on the left when you're looking at the video, there's a chair in the corner. And I was like, people keep asking me about my dogs. And I thought, you know, one of these days I had some idea of, like, having Olive in my arms and walking right in front of the camera. And that way it's, you know, that would just be something that was fun. And it would be like, it would give people, like, oh my gosh, there was this poodle. He's got poodles. But that didn't quite work out. But then Otis came down and he jumped in the chair, and he used to love to hang out in that chair when we were in Minnesota. And it was so perfect because I was filming, and then I was doing one of these moves like this. And I told my video editor, I said, so just put a little text on the screen when I'm doing this. And it said, hopefully, we'll see if it's going to happen. It says, poodle on the set.
Yeah.
But you can barely see him because it's so dark back there. But
yeah. So
anyway.
Alex put a follow-up comment. He says, I do it because I got to do it to run my brand of electric car news, and it's part of the deal.
Like, yeah, that's just it. It's the same thing for me. Like, it's like, and there's,
can I just finish the rest of his line? He said,
I'm sorry. I thought that was it.
Like cops don't join the police department to do paperwork, but it's part of the job. That's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, well, it's true too, right? It's like, you know, that's just what we sign up for. And for me, it's like, I really do like it, but I also, well, it's like love and hate. I love it, but I also hate it because it's just, I know sometimes it's really hard. Like sometimes I really kind of battle I don't know why. In the other times, it just flows and it's really easy. For me, one of the things I've learned, Gord, is the more effort I put into a video, the more I want to return. And I'm pretty damn sure that that's applying a pretty healthy amount of pressure. So, you know, you spend this amount of time to script things out, and then you get in front of the camera and you're like, okay, make it the best video you've ever filmed.
Right. Well, the funny thing is, for me, it's like I start looking for excuses not to press the record button. Oh, it's 3 in the afternoon. My energy's not going to be the best. I didn't start at 10 a.m. So I'll just wait till tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes by and I may have got a bunch of distractions. And then with me, then this like anxiety starts to creep in, because like, what have you been doing for 2 days? You're doing all of these other things, losing the focus on getting that next video out that you'd already scripted or outlined, and you're ready to go. But for some reason, I'm not inspired to press the record button. Like, I honestly fight, you know, the desire to feel that I'm ready to perform. I don't know if this makes any sense, but I get better with it over time. But because of this challenge, I took a bit, I don't want to call it take a break, because this is definitely not a break. You know, this is like executing on a different level and having another experience to grow. But I fight that, and I'm finding like the more, if I take time off, it's sometimes very hard to get like really inspired and know where I was at when I was like in the peak way of performing before. Like, do you find that, or is that you've been able to get enough of a consistency by that discipline that you can pretty well push yourself through it?
Yeah. So for me, it's like, I just honor what I want the most. So it's like, I'm going to publish on Tuesday and Thursday and on Friday. Now it's interesting this week, because this whole consecutive winter thing means I've actually been spending more time getting the scripts ready, then filming, and I've got client meetings in the afternoon. I'm working with Sunny Lenarduzzi and with her clients and supporting her and those people, and then doing the Patreon hangout. And so for me, it's like, you know, I'm always gonna be filming every single week, and I'm trying to get to it as soon as I can. But this week I actually pushed it a little bit. I feel really grateful for VidChops, because I basically sent them footage a little bit later than I would have liked to, and I still was able to get a video out yesterday afternoon. They did it in about a 36-hour turnaround, which was awesome.
Well, that's great.
But for me, you know, I'm always filming, and I just kind of like, that's what I signed up to do. You know what I mean? And here's the thing, Gord, you don't have to make videos. Like I said, if you want to, you could try to hack live streaming, and you could do, like I've mentioned to you, you could do a lot of tutorials on Camtasia, like real.
Yeah, there was a suggestion in here that I should do some live tutorials. And in fact, people don't know this, but I did my first live tutorial on Wednesday night on Michael Daniels' channel. And I talked for about half an hour, 40 minutes, and I walked through an example of a video showing all the cool effects and things that you can do in Camtasia. And the irony, because we're talking about preparation, is I prepared this thing because it's my video that's coming out on Saturday as well. I mean, I had recorded the video. It's the one where the audio got messed up. It's my webcam audio instead of the real one. And no matter how much preparation I did, I'm learning now, as this experience is showing, the flow and what came out was, you know, not exactly as how I planned it. And in certain ways it was better. And yeah, so I forgot a few things and I flubbed up on a thing here, but I got to realize that letting go more is something I'm going to need to get used to, because I am a planner in every detail, and, you know, got to be prepared to the nth degree. And I know I'm not going to get the productivity I need to grow if I keep going that way. So that's why the live stream thing, if I can make that happen, will be like a godsend for I'm hoping quality content to contribute to my channel as well. But I'm learning a lot through just, you know, this challenge and doing these. So yeah.
Yeah, well, I think that's just seeing that in yourself and whatnot, and being okay with the fact that as you move forward, things are going to get forgotten. Like when I do, interesting, I released a video on Tuesday, and there wasn't a lot of preparation. I spent probably 20 or 30 minutes scripting out the video, maybe an hour. I went pretty fast, but it turned out really, really good. And because there was actually less preparation, I didn't have this like, this is the thing that's going to blow up my channel. And I got in front of the camera, and there was an ease about the delivery, and it was solid, you know. And now here's what's up: is sometimes when I do that, if I just have a few bullet points, I might forget something, but that's just part of it. Like, you can't. We're human. We're going to forget things. Things come into our head, but by understanding that the path is just continuing to publish and whatnot, and getting over that, I think is super helpful. And it's the same way with the videos. So when you say, you know, I've got a plan and I got a script, and then I psych myself out, and then I don't, it's like you kind of go through this tormentual, is that a word? I think it is a tormentual. If it's not, I just made it up, like ritual. And
that is tormentual.
Yeah. Instead of just like doing the thing, instead of just getting it over, and then you can move on. And for me, it's like with having two videos a week, and here's an idea for you may want to try, and anybody that struggles with this stuff, is the more you know you need to be doing it, and the more you're not, that's just time for you to beat yourself up.
Yeah.
But if you wake up in the morning and you're just like, I got to get going on this, and it's like I got to try to make my hair look kind of, you know, like it's a young audience, and I'm a little thin up here now, and that's not very helping anything. And then I'm trying to find the right shirt, and even if it's a t-shirt, that was a look for a while. It was just a t-shirt, but I needed a special kind of t-shirt. So I still kind of do this dance, but just by the fact that I'm getting to make it happen quickly, and I focus on it first thing in the morning, I don't like the idea of skipping a day. I like couldn't get all the things done, you know? So I would just really try to attack doing what you know you have to do. Because if you don't anyway, you're going to like, don't say that, Beanie. See, that's the problem. Beanie's like, oh, Brian's hair rocks. But what happens when I don't have hair? What am I going to do then? Oh my God.
Hey,
like,
look here. I had the worst haircut of my life just before I went live with Nick, and I was like practically crying, and I go like, oh my God, I tried something experimental with someone else to do my haircut, and I, you know, but I just went with it. Fortunately, no one said bad hair day or anything, so it's going to take an extra month to grow whatever I have back.
The sooner you do the thing you're afraid of, the sooner you're done, and the sooner you can feel better about it. And the more you put it off, the more painful it becomes. Will you get some fab hats or crazy wigs? Definitely not crazy wigs. I would never do that. I'll just be like, I don't know. Like when I get to that point, Lizzie, like it's super thin up here. It's perfect. Like I got to do the Christopher Lee kind of Dracula look. Like I'm evolving perfectly in, like, you know, the love of Dracula as a kid. But when I get to that point, I'll figure it out. You know, I'm definitely not getting a toupee though. Mm-hmm. That's just for fakers.
So my last two questions relate to, I guess, other growth strategies. You alluded to it a bit. One of them is, how are you using your community tab, and how do you see that unfolding as it releases more? How should we strategically use that for growth?
So what you want to do is you want to share your own videos to your tab now and then, but you don't want to abuse it. You don't want to like make every post sharing your own videos, because at that point, some of the people in your audience will have already seen the videos. It won't be of any interest to them, and it won't be something that they look forward to, or they're grateful for, or that they're really excited by. So for me, for example, my last community post was actually this live stream, which was super helpful. So I can share a video from Nick. I can share a video from someone I don't even know, which I have. I've shared a video from Creator Insiders. I can share a picture or a meme, which is great. I shared one, a photo of Steve Martin. I'm going to talk a little bit about Steve Martin in videos coming up next week. Prince, Steve Martin. And it's kind of neat. As I'm developing thoughts about a video, I might just take some imagery from an upcoming video and share it. Another thing you can do is you could go behind the scenes, and you could link to a behind the scenes clip that might be unlisted, an unlisted video. You can do polls.
Oh, wow. I think, so you can actually survey the people in something. So do you see this? How does YouTube perceive activity there? Like, I mean, Does it have anything to do with affecting the algorithm? Like, have they said how it fits into doing well with serving in your community tab?
Well, let's take it from YouTube.
Oh, cool.
Shall we?
Cool.
So let me pull something up here.
Okay.
I just happen to have from YouTube. I got all my stuff from YouTube here. So I share this one all the time. You guys are probably tired of it, but oh, it's actually not that one. It's this one. So it says important user history. As an example, consider the user's past history with the channel that uploaded the video being scored. How many videos has the user watched from this channel? When was the last time the user watched a video on this topic? I'm actually super excited to keep talking about that, because I just think the depth in which we can really appreciate one sentence and how it's impacting the algorithm is huge. So by simply sharing your own video in your community tab,
right,
or not a video, like if it's only videos, you'll turn people off. Right. But if you make it a source of great content, if you inspire people, if you highlight other videos that people haven't seen, they're going to be interested, and ultimately you're bringing people back to your channel. YouTube just said in a document that, you know, users and how often they visit your channel is really important, and we measure that. And when we're trying to figure out which video should be in suggested, and this is where the consecutive winner thing gets so powerful.
Right.
It's like, you think about, you publish a video on tennis and it's seen by 1,000 people in a month and 50 people subscribe. And then a week later, it's another video on tennis and 1,200 people see the video and 60 people subscribe. And you keep moving forward in this manner, and more people are going to watch your consecutive video. So the community tab is just one more way to bring people back to your channel and to honor them. When you just abuse it, when you're lazy, not so good. But it doesn't have to be hard. Like, I just shared an image. It was Steve Martin with the arrow through the head, and the quote is, "Be so good they can't ignore you." And I wrote a little bit about, like, this is how you succeed. Phase 1 is this. Phase 2 is this. Like, if you get to phase 3, and then this is what happens, and then you're so good they can't ignore you. And people really love that, you know.
So it's like you said, a mix of behind the scenes stuff, reminding them of some of the good quality stuff that you have, the videos you've produced, and you know, it's getting another level of social into YouTube, which is good, because they're consuming it while they're there, maybe when they were looking at your videos and said, "Oh, look what's up with Brian. He's saying something motivational here. This is kind of cool. I'm getting to see that side of Brian," which maybe he might otherwise have done in something like Instagram or write on a blog post on your website. But now I'm right here, and so it's going to maybe keep them there longer, which I think is really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. And then there's the whole like. Me and Nick were planning on doing something this week, and I said, I can't pull it off. I got so much going on. But with that hero video I released on the YouTube algorithm and suggested videos, that clip from Nick was purposefully put there in his call to action to basically create engagement, to increase retention. And then he shared that video on his community tab. So they came and watched the video. Now think about this. Those people from his community watched my video, and then they saw Nick. Yeah. So by structuring it this way and then working together in collaboration, super, super powerful. And furthermore, it really helps in suggested videos. And so we'll talk about that more.
I'm sure there are strategies that are going to evolve and see, you know, obviously to support collaborative efforts, like you just said. That's
so this is kind of like the next level YouTube collaboration, is how to like come together with a YouTuber, share videos, be smart about it, and so on, and just bring more value to your community. And that's at the end of the day, if you focus on your next video or live stream, you connect with an audience and you deliver something they deem valuable, you'll win all day long.
Okay, so the last one, and this is to get towards the end now, is about YouTube Reels is something that's coming. Have you heard about that? It's like stories for YouTube, And what do you think of that? It's almost like, do I need to now use some of these other platforms if I'm going to now have a community tab and Reels where I can tell stories inside YouTube? There's such a convergence across the platforms in terms of the tool set capabilities that we're starting to see come about. Of course, search it, Facebook is not like searching for an answer in YouTube, so there's differences no matter how you look at it. But what do you think of something like stories coming out on YouTube?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and to be able to do little short clips and behind the scenes and whatnot, that should be fantastic. So
have you
go ahead, Gord.
Oh, I was going to say, have you I only learned about that because I saw Tim Schmoyer mention it, that he was involved in sampling it. Like, have you heard anything about the horizon for that and the community tab for people at different subscribership levels? So have you heard about?
I think it's pretty early at this point, but I would guess probably things will heat up with that as we get more into the summer. We'll start, maybe some more channels will start talking about it, and more creators will get access to that. But I think again, it's going to be neat. And the thing to realize is that YouTube absolutely is evolving. It's changing. They want to become more social. They're taking on these things. Like, it's kind of weird that, we didn't have live streaming with mobile until like literally maybe 3 to 6 months ago.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it was out in beta at 10,000 about a year ago. But that was really, really late to the party. So now we've got the whole Reels coming in and whatnot, and it'll be interesting. And I think, again, it's going to be important to realize that it won't be Instagram,
mm-hmm.
and the community tab isn't Facebook. And I'll go to Facebook, and I may on a particular day publish or post 6 or 8 times.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't in a while. I've been more quiet just because I'm kind of working on stuff here on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But I wouldn't worry about that. If I was excited, I would share that amount. But I would never do that on the community tab, because the subscriber base isn't used to seeing that volume of content on YouTube. So I think being aware and really holding the viewers and the subscribers first, and delivering it in a way that really honors what they want, and then combining it overall with what you're already doing on YouTube as far as how it's working and whatnot will be important.
Yeah, and that adage of always, go to the platforms where your audience are, right? And that's one I find interesting, because I haven't invested enough time. I started doing a series of Facebook Lives, and I loved it, and the feedback was great, and the views were great. But then I didn't stay consistent with it, and this is the thing. And it's like the Instagram I used predominantly for just promoting my videos, and then I go, well, there are people that are using Instagram with all of these kind of vanity shots and a little bit behind the scenes. And then I see someone like Roberto who's used it more for like an internal, reflective, motivational approach. And I go, you know what? You have to find what's going to work for you. And this is where I get, like, tossed about in my head about like, well, what should I do? Because I'm not like this. I'm not like that. I like this. Maybe I should do that. And then I just like don't do anything with consistency. So I find it interesting how to figure out how to crack that serving, and discovering what the audience wants from one or two other platforms to help, right?
I think you don't ever really figure it out until you play. So I think you have to be willing to be kind of exposed, and you have to be able to put yourself out there and whatnot in order to see. Like, you can't know how to bake the perfect cherry pie the first time you bake a cherry pie. Mm-hmm. It's just not possible. Like, you don't know, like, if the cherries in your area are a little bitter or tart, or if you need to cut back on the sugar. You don't know if you should put a little honey over the crust, or like all of these things mm-hmm. come into play. And a lot of times what we do is we want to theorize how to make it work right, because I don't want to make a mistake. But at the end of the day, by being willing to just have some fun and see it for what it is, it's like, the stuff I did on YouTube in the early days, like, who cares? You know, like it didn't work all the time, but it worked plenty of time. And not even just what I did a year and a half ago, like what I did 10 years ago, who cares? Like what matters is what I'm doing today. And the way to get better is to practice, and the way to figure it out, the path to all the answers is by doing. So
yeah, and it's very interesting you should say that, because some of my earliest videos in the first year, I did a lot of these motion graphic, animation motion graphic videos that I love doing, but some of them were like these really deep tutorials, like 20-25 minutes long, with PowerPoint slides and then animation walkthroughs in the videos, and they were deep, and they took me like 3-4 days to create these things. But I got so many great remarks, comments about my teaching ability, this, that, and the other. But now, where I'm at now, I you know, I would do the things differently. I'm not going to feel like they're coming to treat them like we're coming to Gord's workshop for every video. Do you know what I mean? So I see a lot of change in how people want to consume. I've got great compliments on those videos, but I see myself evolving, like you said, and it's like, what's next in your evolution, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like, you know, you're going to evolve. Like you finished up with evolution, and that's just it. And that's part of the fun, you know. And like I said, I'm glad that I didn't unlist any of those videos. And sometimes I still think about it because you know, I see like what's showing up in the sidebar, and I see earlier videos. But what's happening is like YouTube's going to get it right. Like my new videos are gaining views a lot faster. Videos I'm putting out just 3 or 4 weeks ago have 6,000-7,000 views.
Wow.
Versus like last year, it took, you know, 6 months to get that many views. So as I continue to evolve, the new videos are going to rise. They're going to gain more views. The subscribers are coming in. And then I get to look back and I get to share and tell the story of like, you know, I was willing to go out there and do the thing that we're told we should do and experiment and be willing to try new things. And it didn't work, and it did work. And this is what I learned, and here's how to learn from it. And without that, what's the fun of it anyway? So
yeah. And the interesting thing you said there that I just wanted to comment on is that what do you say to people that let's say they're in a very small niche, but they have a hardcore passion for it, and they're creating videos, and they have some kind of, you know, like maybe just those volume of views is not, you know, attainable in where they focused. You know, I guess this gets to, are you doing it for the art or for you or for business, and all of those dynamics come into play like we've talked about. I mean, because you know, if I decided that I wanted to do something purely for volume of views, I'd probably be doing things much differently than the way I'm doing it right now, right?
yeah, absolutely. It's just coming down to moving forward and just doing what you can to enjoy the journey. I think that's what's really most important. We kind of started with that too, and that is like, we all want to get more views right now, but oh, Josephine, you're still here. I saw you said you're going to go, so bye. And Cricket's back, and Drew's been around, and Rodney's mentioning cake, so that sounds pretty good. I'd like some cake too.
Yeah, well, as soon as you started mentioning the cherries and the adding sugar and honey, I'm like,
everyone lit up. They're
yeah,
like,
exactly.
Oh, they're serving cake now.
Yeah, I wanted to share a comment. I like this one. That McCann Dog says, I like how relaxed both Brian and Gord are during the conversation. It's a great tempo for learning and taking notes. So
yeah,
that's I'm enjoying it too.
Well, I tell you what, guys, if anybody has any questions, drop them in. I'm feeling like it's going to be a weekend soon.
Yeah,
but that being said, if there's any questions, hey, it's Analog. What's going on, Analog? Nice to see you. Welcome.
Yeah, he's been here for the whole time too. Yeah,
we've been going how long now? I see it?
This is a record for me, Brian. What did we start at?
Yeah, 2.5 hours now.
2.5 hours. This is like
that's about as long. It's easier for me because I don't have to. I just have to sit here and chat. So that's cool.
Well, I mean, it's been incredible. I really appreciate you sharing all your insights. And can we close with this one? If you were to just say, maybe it's not appropriate, but I'm just trying. This was something for some reason I felt was a good thing to think about near the end, which was, if you were to say like the couple of things that people should just not do? I don't know if that's the right thing. Like, what does the few mistakes to avoid that's likely holding people back that want to grow? Like, you know, is it mindset or what is it?
This is actually interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off,
Sure.
Gord, but
go ahead.
Max has got this quote, this question here.
Sure.
And your question is like, what don't you want to do? What shouldn't we do?
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm picking on Max a little bit, so I apologize first. But I see this as such a big thing on YouTube and in general in life, and that is we have an opportunity to see things as a problem or to see things in a positive light. And the fact of the matter is it takes a long time to get reviewed right now. The fact of the matter is I published a video yesterday and I was excited about this video. I thought, you know, gosh, this video is just, it keeps getting better. I don't even know how it's possible. Like the edit was so fun, and understand that I ship off raw footage. I get a video back. And like when you watch a Brian video for the first time, can you imagine what it's like to watch your own video for the first time? Like, I hope that's good.
Yeah.
And it was fun and whatnot. And then as soon as I'm optimizing and the thumbnails coming together and I'm ready to publish and it says demonetized. And I know that a lot of people would be really upset and that would kind of ruin their day and they would complain. And it almost, I feel like that can bring you down to even a deeper place. And the more you focus on the negativity, the more negative you're going to see. It's just how it works. You're going to complain on YouTube, and then someone else that's in that same space, they're going to complain. And you're going to find a happy group of complainers that complain a lot. And YouTube is broken. YouTube is not perfect. YouTube just demonetized my video. But then 12 hours later, I got monetization turned back. And I don't know one other platform that pays YouTubers. Gord, what platform can you go live stream and make over $100? You've made over $100 today in Super Chat. Is that right?
Could be. I'm blown away. I don't know of anything.
So my question to everybody in this live stream right now is just go ahead and name one other platform where you can publish content and you can make $100 or $300 or $1,000. Yeah, Twitch, exactly. Yeah. So they're out there.
Right.
But here's what's up. Like, people probably bitch about Twitch too.
Sure.
And YouTube is amazing. So.
Oh, yeah. You know, something, I totally agree with you. And not to mention the fact, you got to this earlier, and I'm just sort of sharing it as sort of my closing comment from me. And that is, it's the journey. The journey's just been such an incredible ride for me now for like 18, 19 months. And it's basically coincides with the time that I've known you and when I started in this deep experience in Trust Funnel with you. And to be able to connect with people that enjoy your material and that you can serve and make a difference. I mean, you know, it's just incredible. And that just brings me so much joy. And that's what really brings me around in the end. And that's why I did this challenge. And I said, I have to jump out of where I'm at in my comfort zone in order to be able to share my journey with other people. And Carlos asked a little earlier, I'm like 109 hours before this live stream with Brian today. So, you know, I'm going to, you know, more than likely achieve that goal and maybe even smash through it. And it's like, I didn't think I'd have a chance when I started. It was like 3 times the watch time, right? So we don't know what we're all capable of in this whole aspect of self-discovery through the process. And you know, I'm sure you feel similarly, Brian, because isn't it every time you keep telling me, well, the next level's coming and I'm excited about it, right?
Yeah, that's just it. And I was thinking about it, Gord, as you were mentioning this. It's like, you know, we started off and you came into the coaching program and you were like, oh my gosh. I remember you sent me an email. You're like, oh, this isn't cheap. It's, you know, it's thousands of dollars. Is it going to be worth it? I'm going to be like, and I was like, this is a deep dive. We're going to really have a deep, intimate coaching relationship.
Right.
And it's going to be different than what you've done in the past. And that was like I think this was the first not the first isn't the right word. This was the time at which you pivoted. In
It
fact,
was
you didn't even
totally
really.
critical point for me because I was ready to throw in the towel and start to maybe go to look for a job at 56, but I wanted to find my dream in the entrepreneurial world, and your webinar was what pivoted everything for me for the future. And when you responded to that email, and I dove in, because I was literally like, the last year and a half had been spent exploring things, like product launching, affiliate marketing, hardcore other stuff, and none of it was really in my heart. I wanted to teach, and I was afraid of camera and everything. And then when I just, there was something about you and the way that you teach, the way your heart's there and your caring nature, which makes a world of difference to mentoring people, especially someone like me. And that made the big difference for me to stick with through a lot of what I've done. And I mean, now you know what it's like. You can get a text out of the blue from me that says, Brian, I'm struggling today. Here's why. And not that I want to say my glass is half full all the time. I'm getting better with it being, half empty. I'm getting better with it saying it's half full now. But you really helped me work through some of those dark moments that we all struggle with trying to get ourselves going. And that's what I'm saying. Brian, you're the real deal, and I really appreciate you for that. And folks, Brian's special for coaching and mentoring. I can share that all with you now from experience.
Gord, it wasn't so much. Oh boy.
Is that a poodle alarm?
Yeah, it is a poodle alarm. What I wanted to say, Gord, is just like, think about that though. Like this live stream, like literally in 2 hours, you made over $100. And furthermore, like all the stuff you've done on YouTube, you've made affiliate earnings, you've made lots of money in lots of different ways. Things are looking up. You're talking to people at Camtasia. You've had people reach out to you for client coaching yourself. And that just shows you that anything is possible. Exactly. And yeah, you've had some dark days, but you have moved forward and you've done it. So I'm really proud of you. And this was, I wanted to do this because, number one, I wanted to hang out and chat with you. You're doing a fine job with the live stream. Two, I wanted to be a part of you crossing that threshold of watch time. And
thank you.
And the third part is it's about community, and it's I always want to try to include everyone, and actually that's getting me in trouble. And like I need to make sure like my channel's consecutive winners, and that's working well, and because then I can help even more people. But it's really cool that you've done it. So just keep moving forward, and thanks for having me today. And it was a lot of fun, and I'm so glad that Cricket came by and Drew was here, and Sam was here, and we've had great people, over 30 people the entire time. So it's been a great live stream.
Yes, and I appreciate everyone for coming out and all the support you've given, and the super chats are just mind-blowing to me, and I'm really enjoying the live stream experience. And so Brian, share with people what's up next for you. You said you're going away to are you doing any like you're talking this weekend? Do you have any other planned events that you're going to be speaking at? I think you said you're doing something with Nick, aren't you, this year as well?
Yeah. Actually, we're both speaking at Video Marketing World Summit.
Is that Jeremy Vest's event?
Yeah, cool. The VidPow Jeremy Vest. So I'm speaking at that. I'm super excited about that. That's going to be a ton of fun. All kinds of good stuff on the horizon. And yes, Rodney, definitely doing some coaching. And this summer, I'll be coming out with more of like a group coaching.
I think that would be great.
Putting out like Gord has mentioned, oh my gosh, like that Trust Funnel Academy, like, why isn't Patreon like that? And I'm like, well, that was a whole different scale, but like, I want to do something like that, Gord, that I did with Trust Funnel Academy.
But with you more focused in the YouTube domain right now. Like Trust Funnel gave us a whole variety of things, which I think were very important in supporting all kinds of things around YouTube to build a business outside as well. And I think that's very important because of all that experience you have the ability to put any kind of combination, interesting package together, which will be neat to see. And I look forward to seeing that.
Yeah, that's going to be a lot of fun. But I think it's time. I think it's time for the weekend now.
All right. Thank you again, Brian. It was a pleasure, and this is like a record by a long shot for me to be out here on a live stream, and I'm so grateful that we had this opportunity today, and I look forward to seeing everybody soon, and I'm going to put out an update on the challenge hopefully this weekend to share with everybody. And
Excellent.
Have a great weekend, everyone, and thank you again, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having me, Gord. It was great. And Cricket and Pam and Rodney, thanks for coming out, Drew. Good to see you guys. It was a lot of fun. Thanks for hanging out. Lizzie was here for, I think, maybe the whole thing.
Yeah, a
and
lot
Ryan
of people
was
were here. And here's Go Pappy. He came a little late, but he's going to enjoy. I see him often a lot too, so he'll get to enjoy the replay. And Carlos,
all right, guys.
Cheers.
Thank you
everyone.
So much, and we'll see you next time.